Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over. Danced him.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Why do you have the big hand?
I have Mr. Bones.
The remnants of Mr. Bones.
Stib said that he put it there. I guess he was the culprit of now I don't know what the heist to get Mr. Bones' arm looked
It was
like.
in the hallway at the mailbox.
This is the one that flew off of his body
That's
into
right.
the middle of Dodge Street, right?
Sitting on that
What?
mailbox for
That
a month
flew
and
in
a
the
half.
middle of the Dodge Street?
I believe so.
I believe it flew off the building in some capacity. I don't know if it made it to Dodge
I like
Street.
to imagine that it flew into the middle of Dodge Street.
That's a better story.
It's always a better
But
story.
here it is, Mr. Bones' arm.
There
So
it is.
what's going on?
I had a dumb thought this morning,
Oh, interesting.
and I wanted to kind of ricochet it off of you guys. As you know, that I don't know if you know this, but I make a decent walk to my car every day that's parked on an outside garage. Okay. And it's about a 5-ish minute walk from like where my unit is to having to go through I gotta walk
The
in.
parking situation is just not great.
No,
or-
it's fine. It's fine. It's just kind of a long walk, like a 5-minute walk from your unit to the car is quite a while, and it's actually only going to get longer because I'm like moving,
especially when there's weather.
Well, farther down the way. Now here,
one of the worst parts about having an apartment for sure.
Was
you don't
walking
have
to the
complete
garage.
access to your car.
It is so annoying the amount of times that I forget things in the car. Like there have been moments where I've forgotten food.
You should
in
just
the
get
car.
really, really rich.
Yeah,
and do
great
one
idea.
of those car elevators.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Or you could park it in your
That'd be awesome.
unit.
The one thing is that I would have to get really, really rich.
Yeah.
And this is just, unless I'm like one of 9 people in this business, it really isn't going to happen.
You do kind of forget that one of the great things about a house is that your car is parked in the same spot every time.
That's right.
Versus the apartment complex where there's like maybe 4 good spots, 2 okay spots.
100% complete access to my car. No one has ever parked in my spot.
There have been multiple times in the winter where I had food in the car and I left it in the car. And I go, you know what? It's cold enough outside where that thing is just a fridge.
I don't blame you. It's not worth it.
And
You can't go back.
And I'm not, and I don't want to walk through this 22-degree weather to go and grab this food. And you know what? If I don't end up eating it, I don't end up eating it because it's not worth it.
Okay, so what happened this time?
So I was walking today, and when I was walking to my car today, it was windy. It was kind of cold. It was snowing.
I've been walking a lot lately.
I
took a
did.
2-hour walk the other day.
I took a 45-minute
You were
walk
asking
yesterday.
us about locations of ice cream.
Yes, I
Walking
did.
is good for the heart.
I'm trying to get in shape. Now, here's the thing. I do find that my walks were a little counterintuitive because walking for 2 hours, but then picking up ice cream while on the walk just seems like it's kind of a
but
counterbalance.
walking is not all about health. It's about.
I would argue it's not about health at all. It's something to do.
You can go on walks and you can burn fat. There's a lot of fat
Of
burning.
course you can, but that's an added bonus. But I think it makes you feel better, not from only a health perspective.
Sure.
But you get to see some things. You get to maybe talk to some people. You get
mentally
to,
declutter.
Yeah.
So 2-hour walk, and then I had a 45-minute walk yesterday. They're both great. And then I had a beer after my 2-hour walk while on the walk. Scott,
Why not?
I know, it was great. Anyway, though, I was walking to my car today. It's windy. It's snowing. It's cold. And my dumb thought of the day was, I don't think I would have survived as a settler of America. You know? I don't think
Great take.
like walking to
Well,
that.
you are a Gen Z product.
Yeah, but
how many hardships have you actually faced?
I mean, they're really only through sports. Derek Rose tearing his ACL.
We graduated during COVID.
I mean, that was
they
kinda,
took away our senior years.
that was kind of tough. I mean, not having
guy
a
didn't have a
prom.
prom.
I didn't have a prom.
Yeah. What would the settlers think about it?
I know.
Oh, COVID.
That's what I thought.
Let me introduce you to yellow fever.
That's exactly what
You're
I thought.
polio.
Like that.
Oh, you don't get to play your basketball game? Too bad. I'm already dead because I got trampled by this oxen as a 12-year-old.
These are all the thoughts that went through my brain today of like bubonic plague. That was just a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like these things, because they didn't have good food.
My senior year.
I got to go put a bullet in Uncle Tim. He's got diarrhea.
Social distancing. Our nearest
Seriously.
neighbor is 15 acres away.
I've had this thought so many times of like, I've gotten sick multiple times to the point where I'm like, man, if I was born in 1812, I think I'd be done. I don't think they would have Advil. Like, I don't think they would have, like, I think they'd give me like a twig of rosemary and a bunch of prayers.
At what point
hope you're okay.
Which thing in your life would have got you at this point?
I had like a 103-degree fever back in 2021.
Now, people had fevers, and
But
there were
this-
remedies for fevers.
This was a really bad 4-day process.
Usually
where
alcohol.
Rag on your head.
Yeah, I nearly went to the hospital, and I was like, really, but I
think you would have made it.
I know, but in 1812, they might have given me something that would have been terrible for me. You know, maybe they gave me a bay leaf, right? And they're just like, here, this will help you. And it didn't do anything. And I died, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it'd hurt. I don't think the bay leaf would kill you.
Sure. But I mean, I've just been sick multiple times, have had bad flus, I
think you'd still be alive.
If I was born in 1812, would I still make it to 23?
No. See, I was asking from like the medical standpoint. Like, would you have a thing in your life that would have taken you out
Probably
to this
not.
point? I'm going to say
not.
no.
Probably.
Would you have been able to survive without our modern amenities? No, you'd be dead.
You think I would not have survived if I was born in the 1800s?
I mean, like if you just place current Matt in 1812.
Oh, I'd be screwed.
yeah.
I'd be done.
But if you were born in 18 whatever, I don't know, you probably would have gotten along to get
Now,
along.
here's the thing. I do have a skill that would have made me useful in 1812, which is I'm a good fisherman. I can fish. I can get food through the water. I
Mhm.
think that would help.
Well, can you eat it?
Yeah, but if you're on a settlement in the Great Plains,
I'd be a great tobacco farmer. I know a lot about the product.
Not
again,
much
you're
tobacco
on
in the Midwest.
You're in the Great Plains.
I'd be screwed. But I'm not. Don't act all high and mighty like you two would be James White or whatever that guy. John White. Is that his name?
Jon White.
Or James? Who was the first settler of Jamestown?
I'm not sure.
Jamestown first
Jamestown.
settler.
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Jamestown. That
He's
was like
talking
the
about
first-
like the colony in Virginia for some
Yeah,
reason.
James.
Okay.
It was the first permanent English settlement in North America.
Okay, and his name was what? John White.
It was like John White.
All right. Yeah, I don't think that I would be able to find anything.
I don't think you would survive either. I don't think if you placed current Connor in 1800, he would survive.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
not. I certainly wouldn't like it very much.
I wouldn't like it either.
But there would
You
be a
don't like
lot.
our current world right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's how I was thinking. There's a lot of positives. Like nobody would have any takes, and I
You
wouldn't
don't
have
time for takes.
I wouldn't have to listen to takes all day long.
Would you rather?
Which is
Takes are
awesome.
a product of us having way more time now than they used to have.
Would you rather?
Yeah, that's true.
Would you rather talk about the current state of college sports and NIL and settlements, or live in a settlement in 1867?
Settlement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the latter.
Give me no electricity, no running water. I gotta churn butter or whatever the hell it is.
I think you
gotta
would've-
kill.
You can churn butter.
I gotta kill stuff to eat. But God, I don't want to talk about this stupid crap anymore.
I think you would have done well in Salem. I think Connor would be awesome at being like, she's a witch.
Again,
Hmm.
Salem isn't quite the same as like a settlement on the plains.
Sure.
but
Sure, but I was just kind of
you're just kind of putting everything on the East Coast over here.
I am very much so.
I'm thinking about like if you were just
The
living
colonies
out
guy.
here trying to
Discover the
raise
West.
corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're just out
Now,
here,
I would have loved
there's
to have
Native
been
Americans
going out
surrounding
California way,
I'm very
trying
much
to find me some internet.
I'm enamored. I love the American Revolution. I think the American Revolution is one of my favorite topics to just read about in terms of history.
You. Interesting.
I would not have signed the Declaration of Independence, but I definitely would have been closely related to somebody who knows somebody who signed the Declaration of Independence.
That sounds like you, yeah.
Like
You've always got a guy.
I would have known a guy who knew the guy who signed the Declaration. And I don't think I would have known a guy who knew John Hancock. Like I would have known the guy
Herbie
who-
Hancock.
who knew like one of the lower tier guys on the Declaration.
If they signed, so now I'm just modernizing and
Yeah, go ahead.
localizing all of this. So bear with me here.
yeah, we'll do.
If there was like a modern day Omaha Declaration of Independence,
Sure.
whose signatures would be on it?
I think the biggest signature on it would probably be Marty Cordero.
Whoa.
I think
There's no doubt that his signature would be on the document.
Yeah, Marty Cordero's signature would be on the document. I think Alex Sindelar would probably make it somehow.
Well, you got to get one from the commoners.
Yeah, exactly. I think Sindelar would find his
Sindelar
way.
represents all the commoners.
Yes.
Maybe I'll finally meet him. Then.
The biggest signature on Omaha Declaration,
Mayor Gene
would be Greg McDermott.
Oh, all right,
Coach
nice.
Matt.
Would he sign or would he already be off to Arizona?
Mayor Gene, same thing. I have a question.
But she's not the mayor anymore.
But
so-
she was responsible for the idiotic streetcar.
Yeah,
so
but does she even live
Well,
here
she would be the
anymore?
British.
She's doing radio in this town
Yes.
right
now.
Yeah,
It was
allegedly.
kind of absurd.
We
She
should
would-
call in to
she-
that voicemail.
I mean, if
We
she's,
should.
if she's the person behind the streetcar, she'd be like King George.
Yeah.
We're being honest.
many people call her mad.
Yeah, the Mad Mayor Gene.
Yeah.
She does
Or
not
the
like that,
the
by way.
downtown.
I don't care. I didn't grow up here. I can't even vote for her.
She's not. You can't because
can't-
she's not even the mayor.
I know, but even when she was, I got
What?
no dog in the fight.
What would Omaha's version of the Boston Tea Party be?
What are we throwing into the Missouri?
It would be like when they got rid of the Italian Runza.
What are we throwing into the Missouri? What are we throwing into the ocean?
Probably the streetcar tracks.
Yeah, it would probably be streetcar parts.
Yeah.
So, what was the significance of the tea? Like, why?
Because
why
they
was
were
it specifically
taxing-
tea?
They were
taxing it, right?
taxing it more. There was
Okay.
an additional tea tax.
You were forced to take it, and then you were taxed upon taking it
So then they
Yes.
just like ditched the tea.
They added another tariff, if you will, on
because they were
tea.
sending the tea over.
Okay,
Yes.
so what do we have that follows those lines here?
That we have a lot of it.
What's just gotten a lot more expensive, but we need it. We need it.
Probably Omaha Zoo.
would control,
Car washes.
But
Throw
they don't
car
really-
washes
yeah.
into the ocean.
but they don't really control that.
No,
do they?
no.
The problem is our society has evolved past 17.
A little bit.
You know,
Yeah.
1770, whatever. So there's that.
We have an excess, a surplus of car washes. We do it very, very well. It's a major export that we have. And everyone wants to sign. You have to sign up for the subscription. I don't even think you could get a car wash in this town if you don't have a subscription anymore.
You're gonna
I
pay
got
out
one the other
nose.
day. No subscription.
You're going to have to get a subscription.
But I stood there and the
Listen to him talk about the
18-year-old
subscription.
was
Yeah.
telling me it was a great financial decision to get this.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, 18-year-old. My finances are different than yours.
Want to go ahead and throw failed NIL contracts into the Platte River?
Good idea.
Just go in and raid both Nebraska and Creighton.
NIL contracts
We're
over
throwing in
$600.
1890 in the river.
Yes, that's our tea party.
Mhm.
1890.
Their
Good one.
jerky, their leftover jerky.
Oh yeah. Remember the jerky wars?
I was barely here for that.
No, you weren't. That was like 2 years ago. You were here.
No, this was
Is that with beef jerky?
yeah.
No. It was one of the random Twitter accounts versus 1890.
Okay.
It was like somebody made a beef jerky line, and then 1890 was like,
Good
we're gonna
idea.
make a beef jerky line. And then they did like Matt Davison like showed up on the radio in a couple of places, like giving people beef jerky. And people were like, I cannot believe this is going on right now.
If we had a modern Omaha American Revolution, Greg McDermott undoubtedly would be George Washington, and Alan Huss would be Alexander Hamilton. Yeah, because he's his right hand man.
Okay.
We would Mayor Gene in the streetcar would be the British and the redcoats, if you will.
Well,
And then where
Well,
would the
there's a
battle,
more-
where would the Battle of Gettysburg take place? Is like the streetcar tracks being put down in
Well,
front of the chai?
Gettysburg was in the Civil War, so
No,
we would
that's a
have to
good
wait
point.
an additional 80 years.
The Battle of Brooklyn or
for
whatever?
that battle.
right on top of the old Rick's Boatyard site, probably.
You're looking for Yorktown or Bunker Hill.
There you go. Thank you. Bunker Hill.
or any of those.
Shout out to Bunker Hill, baby. I play a golf course in Dubuque called Bunker Hill every single
I bet
summer.
there's some bunkers,
There are some bunkers.
less hills.
It's a great course.
I
There's some hills.
My dad
There's some hills.
wanted to play it.
Sorry, Dubuque. I mean, I should
No,
have
Dubuque
known.
is a very hilly town.
Yeah, and I should have. I was not thinking of Dubuque. I was-
Dubuque has one of those things where you have to take this. you got to take like the little tram. You could take a little tram to the top of a mountain like Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
I was thinking of the defensive lineman that Nebraska was recruiting from
Tiffin.
Yes.
Tiffin.
I could not remember
Yes.
the name of the lineman. I think it's TJ something.
Yes.
And then it was Tiffin.
TJ
Iowa.
Bowlers.
TJ
TJ
Look at
Bowler.
that.
TJ Bowlers from Tiffin.
That was a recruiting hour
Yeah.
constant.
And every time I go by, every summer, I take a picture of the Tiffin water
Yeah.
tower and send it to Schaefer.
He would.
Except
He
for I
would.
didn't go 2 years ago because my child was being born.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Now, will her birthday present problems?
Yes,
for-
every year for the rest of my life.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna have like a third birthday party where it like turns into just we bring a bunch of beer and get hammered?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it.
I
That'd
think
be
she
fun,
should have
but-
a second birthday party first.
Good take.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how old she
Well, I just said she was born 2 years ago, but
was. Okay, I wasn't listening.
which would make her 2 this upcoming August. But
Okay. That'd be great. Like an end of the summer party where it's just your child's 2-year-old birthday, but then we just get hammered.
there could be an event where I would invite you
Man,
all
I'm gonna-
over soon.
I'm going to
Could
clue you in
potentially
on
be
something.
that.
When you have a 2-year-old, there is a penalty to be paid for getting hammered. It's the next morning. You still have the 2-year-old.
I'm not worried about
And now
Connor
you're
getting
hammered.
hammered or your wife getting hammered. I just want a vessel for me to get hammered for a low price. That's just kind of what I'm
You
looking
can
for.
make that happen.
The price
know.
is driving all the way out to Timbuktu to get to our house.
Yeah, that's,
No, it's not. It's only Wesco.
Okay.
I love Wesco. I have a great time in West Omaha. Never had a bad time in West Omaha.
You do love Shields. I forgot.
I
about
do. I go to
that.
Village Point.
Yeah.
I go to Village Point I went to Firebird for the first time.
Which is
Good
in the
spot.
Do you have
Shields
the
parking
Shields
lot.
credit
Yeah.
card?
I do.
Have you seen the commercials of the guy who's sitting on the floaty and it's for the Shields credit card?
No, I
I
have.
think about you every time about how if you could have been in a commercial, this would be the commercial.
I
you
love
would
the
be
Shields
in.
credit card. I'm about
He
to get
talks
my
about how like this is his life now. He just lays on this raft and enjoys life.
my first
He has a
batch.
Shields credit card.
My first batch of rewards is about to come through.
There you go. Yeah, they sent me like a $25 gift card, like a lot.
I can't
Probably
wait.
too much.
I'm gonna find this commercial and send it.
They gave me a $75 gift card and I got a new pitching wedge. It was great.
Very good.
I know. I was so happy about
Shout out to Shields.
What kind of pitching wedge?
it. It's a 52 degree. It's a max fly like tour pitch black. Pretty sick. It's great.
Okay.
It's really good.
Are
I love
you
the 52.
are you good at golf?
I'm not good, but I love to
Did
golf.
you see the swings?
I saw the swings. They didn't look like horrible, but I felt
It's a
like
simulator, which I don't like.
I was
and
a
will
little
not play
concerned
well
that
off of.
not the video was doctored, but just that like there was kind of a lot of swings and a lot of results, and that was the one that was sort of cherry picked out of there.
So this is true. That was now. It's not like I had a lot of videos.
It's like when they put out videos, like when Creighton or Nebraska puts out videos of warm-ups, like you're
Yeah.
not going to put out a bunch of shots of them missing.
Let me make
Right.
this. Let me admit to this.
It felt like you took a little off.
That drive it was 280 yards right down the middle. I didn't take anything off of that.
Oh, was it
that
280?
Yeah, that was incredible. But after
It's
that,
incredible, he
after
says.
that shot, there was a lot of shanks. There was a lot of hooks. None of those hooks were recorded or anything like that. So it's not like I cherry picked the video. I
Okay.
just got lucky. Now, the video of me hitting with my irons, like down the middle and a little to the left, I'm good at striking. Like I'm a good iron striker.
So
Just-
you are this purchase of this, what is it?
pitching wedge.
Tour black
Yeah,
pitching
yeah,
wedge.
yeah.
Do you feel like you can handle that?
I got all my clubs regripped. You know, I got my.
That's
I got-
not the question.
I got. Yes, I can. I'm very much. I play 27 holes a week.
But are you good?
No, but I play, and I love to play. I did not.
But if you're not good, then you probably like I don't know.
I'm not buying new.
There's a certain point where the investment just really,
Let me tell you this right now.
You're
But does he-
reaching.
it shouldn't matter if he's good or not. Does he like it? If he likes it, then the investment's whatever, you know.
I guess.
I'll make.
If you
this
have a
clear.
hobby, you don't have to be good at the hobby.
I'm not buying like $1,000 club.
But it feels like you're
getting-
doing it for the purpose of being good.
I'm doing it because I lost my 50-degree wedge
Oh, okay. You just needed one.
in
That's different.
at a golf course, and I was
We have
like,
come full circle.
and
Yeah.
I was like, I need a 52-degree.
This
and-
guy
and I
is going to
bought
live
it.
in the 1820s.
I know that's what I said. I would die. I would definitely
You wouldn't
die.
have your wedge.
No, I
Although
wouldn't.
you would have less possessions to lose.
just your life.
But then I would do something like really weird, and they would think I'm the devil or something like that, and they would probably have me like feathered. And
yeah, I mean, if you came from the future, you would come off as a wizard and you'd be stoned to death. So there's
Yeah,
that.
we don't want that. You'd have to actually be born in that time.
I think
Which
if
you
I
would
was,
have no knowledge of the future.
I think if I was born in that time, I'd be useful. But I
think
wouldn't.
you're adaptable enough that you could survive.
I could survive,
But,
but
the core principles of you just forgetting stuff would still stand. You know,
yeah,
you
guess I
would still be forgetful.
No, I think I definitely would. I think that would lead to very bad situations because, like, losing my keys in Kansas City was really just more of an hour delay. That was kind of annoying. Losing my bow in the forest while we're trying to get food would lead to the town going hungry.
Yep. Exactly.
And like there would be a lot
what I'm
more
saying.
harsh consequences.
Death.
So, yes, that's what I'm in total agreement with you. I'd be donezo.
They'd just be like, where'd he go? And there
Yeah.
would be no answer. You'd just be gone.
He was last seen walking off into the forest.
Yeah. He
I would
lost
lose-
his bow.
I would lose myself.
Yeah, you'd lose yourself after you lost your bow.
No, I'm by the way, I'm not good at golf. Now I will say this. I did not hit over 100 last year in all the holes of
So
golf I
what
played.
like what is good? How good are you?
Last year my best score was like an 87.
Are you shooting that pretty consistently?
No. I think I'm like a 92 to a 95.
Are these like real scores?
Yes, I don't take mulligans.
Okay.
I swear. I do not take mulligans.
You can take mulligans. You can take breakfast balls.
I
there's
don't.
Like a
I don't.
difference.
I don't take mulligans. I count every time I hit out of bounds. I count it. I take drops.
How often is the ball like on the fairway after you hit it off the tee?
You know what? I would say that the worst part of my game by far is getting off the tee, and so not honestly not that often. Now,
Like 2 out of 18?
no, I'd say.
Well,
like,
I mean, whatever.
I'd say
2 out of 13.
I'd say like 6.
6.
Yeah.
Half the time ish.
A third of the time.
A third of the time.
A third of the time, I'm somewhere in the fairway. Now, I am Matt McPunch-Out. Like I am really good at punching out now because you just get a lot of practice.
Get
at it.
experience.
So I'm I really don't go over a double bogey. Like I don't take quadruples anymore. I've kind of gotten the whole topping thing out of the way. Like I don't top the ball anymore, stuff like that. I play in a league, Tiburon Terry.
I know that you play in a league. That
Love
is
it.
not that is not an admissible.
16 seed
yeah.
Tiburon Terry.
I'm Radio Matt. That's what they call me.
Radio
Well,
Matt.
like I'm stepping up to the tee. They're like, "Oh, Gene, you're playing Radio Matt today."
you and
know?
a bunch of old dudes, right?
Yeah, it's a bunch of. I love those guys.
You like the old dudes.
Dude, they're great. We go to like a little tavern after, and they always like pay for my beers and my tab and stuff like that.
That's why you like it.
I know they treat me well. They're good people.
Old dudes don't make fun of you either.
No, but they get a little. Sometimes they can get a little.
Oh, I would
weird.
think they would be the old dudes I know are big ball busters when
Yeah.
it comes to golf.
Well, we like joke, but then they get a little weird. They're like, "You're talking to any women," and they want to like
Sure.
precariously live through you and stuff like that. Then they start telling you their stories about like how they used to wheel and deal according to them.
Nice.
Yeah. No, not nice. Kind of weird.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah,
You accept
it
the
is.
free beer and you listen to the stories.
Yes, I do, and I enjoy it.
It didn't sound like it. It sounded like you were.
It can get a little weird. It can get a little like, okay, all right, Tom, I get it. Other than that, though, good time.
Nice.
So, all right, that's the crossover. Powered by Concrete Repair in Omaha. I can start telling when Connor is done with the crossover.
I could go however long you want.
Crossover is powered by Everlove Concrete Repair in Omaha. EverloveConcrete.com. Fun show ahead on Middays with Ben on 1620 The Zone.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on 1620 The Zone. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson. Josh, how are you, my friend?
I'm all right. How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing great. We are in full swing in conference tourneys, baby. This is going to be a fun day. As everybody knows, if you're a longtime listener of Middays with Matt, there are people at the station who used to be at the station, some currently at the station, who used to really care what's going on the TV during the show. Okay. I'm not one of those people.
That's how we got David Wells to call the show.
I just don't. I really don't watch TV during the show. I'm on my computer the entire time. I'm prepping. Not today. Josh, not today. Because at 10:30, Pitt takes on NC State on ESPN2. Or at 11 a.m., rather.
Whoa.
Pitt takes on
11.
NC State.
Okay.
Pitt actually gave up a really big loss to Stanford, an ACC team that is firmly, by the way.
Classic ACC rivals.
There we go.
Pitt and Stanford.
There we go. We have to laugh at that, right? An ACC team in Stanford who was firmly on the bubble of the NCAA tournament gets handed a Q3 loss at their conference tourney. And so that's a potentially massive shakeup for the NCAA tournament. And so Pitt now going to take on NC State. NC State, they're also on the bubble when it comes to the NCAA tournament. They're a 10 seed. If Pitt does it again, what if Pitt gives another ACC team a quad 3 loss? They become the harbinger of bracket death, if you will, in the ACC for the Pitt Panthers to do so during the ACC tournament. So that's going to be at 11 o'clock. We'll have that on. I'm a little annoyed that the Big Ten tournament is on Peacock. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that it's all on Peacock. Why can't it just be on linear television, if you will?
They have their own network.
I know. It's stupid. Well, I know the NBC network. Now, sometimes...
No, that Big Ten network.
Oh, that's a good point. But, sometimes there would be a game on Peacock, and then there would also be, the NBC Sports channel will have it on as well. I don't know if that is going on necessarily for this, but I'm not a fan.
It is if you have YouTube TV, baby.
Do we have SEC Network?
In this room?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. At 11:30, we're going to watch LSU, one of the most irrelevant basketball programs, really, for a power conference. Take on
Shaq on line
Kentucky.
1.
It is currently.
Ben Simmons on line 2.
Stop it. It's irrelevant. LSU basketball is very much irrelevant right now. So,
you know who's not irrelevant?
Who is not irrelevant?
Danny Dimes. We got to change his nickname because he just signed a 2-year, $100 million deal with the Colts. That's
Daniel
a lot of money.
Jones. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about Daniel DeVito.
No.
No.
That's a funny image.
Isn't it funny that Daniel Jones twice in his career has just signed these weird, we don't really know if you're the guy, but you've played well enough for us to pay you type deal? Daniel Jones really has just played well enough to get money invested in him, but not enough to get the long-term confidence that teams might have another quarterback.
I'd take $50 million per.
Well, I wonder how much of this contract is guaranteed. Kyler Murray, by the way, has not signed yet.
Yeah, you've wanted to talk about this all week.
Well, I just want to get ahead of it because I don't want people to sound smart. I want me to sound smart and then you to hear the people who are apparently the insiders say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are wondering, wow, Malik Willis has signed and Tua Tagovailoa has signed and all these other quarterbacks, they're finding their places. You know what? Kyler Murray, who's probably one of the better options in terms of the quarterback position, why hasn't he gone anywhere yet? Especially now that Daniel Jones has signed this 2-year deal. By the way, it's an $88 million deal that can be worth up to $100 million. So it's really a 2-year, $88 million deal that has $12 million worth of incentives. It's going to get $60 million guaranteed for Mr. Jones. So congratulations to Danny Dimes. Kyler Murray is going to sign a 1-year deal this season for a vet minimum.
Well, 1 year prove it?
Well, he's getting paid a lot of money because he's getting cut by the Arizona Cardinals. So they're paying him the money that he was supposed to be owed this season. So there's no point in him signing a deal larger than the vet minimum. He's going to get paid plenty of money. On top of that, it just makes him more desirable if he were to sign the vet minimum as opposed to, trying to make more money or whatever. So the thing, though, is that Kyler Murray is going to sign this 1-year deal regardless of who he goes to next season, which means that he will be a free agent at the end of next season. So what Kyler Murray currently is doing is he's sitting down with multiple teams, going to these dinners, talking to coaches, talking to general managers, getting the lay of the land, not necessarily to sign with all of them this season, but to lay the groundwork of what negotiations will look like next season. That's what he's doing. That's why this is taking a little bit of time. He's laying the woodwork, if you will. He's laying a foundation for what his hopefully lucrative negotiations in next offseason will look like, because that will be the time for Kyler Murray to once again cash in and make a lot of money on a big contract. So he's taking his time, talking to multiple teams. Kyler Murray's a guy that the league hasn't really been able to get to know over the last, it's been like 7 years, because the last time that the league got to know him, he was going around who's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Since then, he's kind of been locked up in Arizona. He's changed a lot since being a young man being drafted from Oklahoma to where he is now. So he's doing a little bit of a press tour, if you will, with teams. He's getting his face out there. He's getting his name out there. So he will sign with the Minnesota Vikings probably sometime this weekend. But he's going to take his time. He's going to get in front of different audiences, different general managers, different coaches. So don't worry, he'll sign probably on Friday. Mark that down as a prediction. Kyler Murray will be a Minnesota Viking on Friday, would be my prediction here, as he's taking his time. But Daniel Jones signs with the Indianapolis Colts 2-year, $88 million contract that can get up to $100 million. We will talk about more things that happen in free agency in the NFL, in particularly what happened yesterday as the sleazeball Ravens traded.
Whoa.
They are sleazeball. Traded for Maxx Crosby, 2 first-round picks. It was going to be the first time in Ravens franchise history that they were going to trade a first-round pick, let alone 2 first-round picks for a veteran player. Now, according to the letter of the law, the Ravens did nothing wrong. They agreed to a deal. They were notified of a player's pending injury, a surgery that happened a little bit ago at the end of last season. They did their physical. All teams, there are 32 teams, and there are 32 different doctors with 32 different standards. And their doctors determined that Maxx Crosby would not be clear for them. It would not be, his injury was going to affect the value of the deal. In principle, right? This happens a lot in the NBA where maybe, physicals happen. So the one that I remember the best is when Kyrie Irving got traded to the Boston Celtics. Isaiah Thomas was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Isaiah Thomas had a hip injury at the time. The physical happened. Cleveland's doctor said, hey, this hip is a lot worse than what we thought it was. Cleveland then went back to the Celtics and said, hey, we don't want to break down the deal. Just add in a 2nd-round pick and we'll put this through. And so the Celtics had to add an additional 2nd-round pick because of the physical. So in theory, the Ravens could go back and say, hey, we can adjust the value of this deal and still get this done. That's not going to happen because that's not what this is about. Okay? That is not what occurred. And it's very clear through reporting and through, if you read between the lines, there's actually Will Compton, of all people, really had some interesting insights on this entire situation. So we'll talk about that and what the Ravens did backing out of the Maxx Crosby deal after deciding that prior to his physical that he was not in the shape that he needed to be in order for them to trade 2 first-round picks. So we will find out where Maxx Crosby will go. It seems like through really good reporting, through a bunch of different tweets that I've saw, through a bunch of different reporters, whether it be Field Yates or Albert Breer. I think Diana Rossini had a really, really good day yesterday, just kind of breaking down all the details. I really do think the most likely outcome is that he's just going to end up being a Raider. Now, miraculously, just the Las Vegas Raiders had so much money freed up that even despite the fact that they signed all of these guys, Lindenbaum, Jalen Naylor, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, like they made a lot of acquisitions in this free agency pool, and they were probably one of the more active teams in free agency. They had so much cap space that it really isn't going to affect any of those moves. Maxx Crosby can just go back to being on his original contract with the Las Vegas Raiders, and they could be totally fine. So it seems like at this point, he probably isn't going to get moved. I mean, I think that some teams are going to go to the Raiders and say, hey, he failed this physical. We're going to give you less than your asking price. And I think the Raiders are going to tell them, hey, you know it's not about the physical. You know what the Ravens pulled here. You know what they were playing at. There's nothing wrong with it. His value is still the exact same since after he apparently failed his physical, according to the Ravens. It's still 2 first-round draft picks. And now that you have teams that have allocated assets elsewhere and have pivoted and made other decisions and committed to other deals for pass rushers, the market is not going to be the same at all for the Raiders, not only in terms of teams available and willing to trade, but also in terms of value. So I think that at this point, probably the most likely scenario is Maxx Crosby just continues to be a Raider, which we will have discussions about that throughout the show because it's a load of crap. It's a load of crap what the Ravens did. And I had a text from a buddy. I'll read that text today. Because he was like, oh, this is kind of sus. You know what sus is?
I do.
Suspicious. Hey, it's kind of suspicious what the Ravens get. I go, there ain't nothing suspicious about it. Suspicious is like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like, oh, is that a coincidence? It's kind of like, oh, like maybe we should look into that. I think it's plain and simple what the Ravens did. I think it's just out in the open, and I don't think they care at all. I believe at this point, as of 8 o'clock this morning, and I haven't really been able to track through my notifications to see if this has occurred yet, but I don't believe the Ravens have made a statement yet in terms of their decision to back out on the deal due to Maxx Crosby's physical. So I'm sure that they will release some sort of statement today, and we will get some conversation about that. Let's go ahead and talk about the WBC as well today. Couple of thoughts.
Yeah, you got some takes, some thoughts?
High pressure, high stakes baseball is awesome. That 7th, 8th, and 9th inning got me ready for playoff ball. I was like, this is great.
The vibes are similar.
I mean, the just every pitch mattering,
Yep.
You're getting the outs are ticking down and your opportunities are going away, but yet even a 2-out double, you're like, all right, here we go. Can we get a rally going?
Be the start of something.
Exactly. You get the juice. And I think it's great for people to experience, especially baseball fans. I don't think the WBC is going to bring in new viewership in any capacity for baseball. I think if you're a baseball fan, you're watching this. If you're not a baseball fan, I don't think you really know that this is going on.
Right.
And by the way, there was a lot of empty seats yesterday in Houston,
Yeah.
which I don't know, I wonder what a diehard, because I'm a fan of baseball, but I'm not a diehard fan of baseball. I wonder what a diehard fan, what their opinion on that is. Was that to be expected?
I don't know what the tickets cost in the area.
Did we expect the WBC to not draw well? Because it is kind of surprising, for an event that doesn't happen every year, that's a novelty, that is one of those events where you're like, oh yeah, I went to the WBC in 2026. That's something that you can brag about. It's one of those bragging events. If I went to an Olympics, I would always be like, dude, I went to the Olympics in 2024, right? If I went to,
absolutely,
if I went to the Four Nations or the first Four Nations, it'd be like, I was in that building. I feel like the WBC should have that same pull. That should be a brag about event that you went to. And also too, it involves the red, white, and blue. If we've learned anything through this summer cycle of sports, through this winter cycle of sports, it's that the red, white, and blue draws big time. So the fact that it's Team USA, it's a novelty event, and it's in Houston, it's in a great, great field. I mean, Astros Park is awesome. Minute Maid Field. It's a great venue. At least it looks like it. TV. I haven't been there personally. The fact that like you have all those things and yet there's so many empty seats, kind of surprising to me. But yeah, they lose yesterday. Massive win for Italy in the WBC. Jeff Passan was calling it one of the biggest upsets he's seen in the World Baseball Classic. Shout out Kansas City Royals fans. Good for you guys.
Shout out Royals.
You know, because if Italy ends up advancing to the quarterfinals, and the USA gets eliminated, at least Royals fans can like hop on the Italian bandwagon.
Yeah, sure.
And be like, hey, Pasquantino, hey, Caglione, we got the Italian stallions. We got the horsepower, if you will, leading Italy to a WBC. You can totally, I would not blame KC fans at all for hopping on that bandwagon and say, go Italy. Because your studs are playing. By the way, Pasquatch had an awesome game at first base from a defensive perspective. I mean, you see those stretches? By the way, if I'm a Royals fan, I am trying to buy a Pasquantino Captain Italy baseball jersey immediately. That's going to be found. That will be found at every single Lawrence, Kansas bar that you can think of from frat. Like that is going to be the frat jersey. The frat jersey of the year will absolutely be a Pasquantino Captain Italy baseball jersey.
Frat jersey of the
frat
year.
Jersey.
I like that.
Frat jersey of the year will be a Vinny Pasquantino Italy jersey. So, I don't know. Mark DeRosa.
Whoa.
Oof. You know,
an idiot and a liar.
So yesterday, Roman Anthony comes up to the plate, and Cal Raleigh didn't play yesterday, which I like. Don't make it wrong. Like I like Will Smith. Okay, not the actor, the catcher, but it's Cal Raleigh, right? Like Cal Raleigh should be playing. So Roman Anthony goes up to bat. And I ask, and I'm watching. So I have a roommate, as everybody knows, and we do this thing where it's like we're watching the same game, but we're in two different rooms.
Oh, okay.
But we're talking to each other while the game is going on.
Are you texting or are you shouting?
No, we're shouting.
Okay,
like we're shouting because his doors, like the couch to the family room, is basically like up on his wall. Okay, in his room, and the door is open. So we're watching, and we sometimes will. It's so dumb. We time it up where our TVs are locked on the same thing. He just wants to watch it from the comfort of his chair, and I want to watch it in the family room. And I'm laughing at this because it was really funny. Roman Anthony goes up to bat, and now he ended up getting a single, and this was I think it was like in the 8th inning. He gets a single, but before that he was 0 for 3. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he like brings in like maybe DeRosa like pinch hits Raleigh here, right? Because like this is an important at bat. And I go, hey, you think DeRosa knows what a double switch is? And Dan from the other room goes, no, he's an analyst. And that was it. It was just like, no, he's not going to double switch. He's not going to do anything fancy here. He's not going to bring in pitch hitters here. He's going to wait for the game to really not matter all that much, could bring in Mason Miller to mow down the side in the bottom of the or top of the 9th inning. I mean, it was disappointing yesterday, especially like the very end of it too, where you got Aaron Judge up to bat and he's the tying run at the plate, and you're thinking, wow, this is storybook here, home run to tie the game. This would be absolutely incredible. And he ends up striking out, and Italy ends up winning. So Charles goes in the chat. PCA is a dog. I saw a lot of people talking crap about Pete Crow Armstrong. Okay,
he was just kind of the Christian Leitner of this team, just kind of happy to be
Connor
there.
Happer said on these very airwaves right to my face yesterday. Oh, I saw some funny shots of PCA on the bench yesterday. Oh, he looked good in the dugout. Have you said thank you once? Have you said thank you once? I want an apology. 2 home runs yesterday for the young man. 4 RBIs. And somehow we're going to blame this whole tournament and the run differential or whatever the hell the tiebreaker is on Matthew Boyd giving up all those runs.
I hate that guy.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
He's a fine pitcher.
No.
Stop. So.
Can't pitch, can't field his position.
Mark DeRosa doesn't know what he's doing, and he was clueless about whether or not.
Whoa. You guys.
He didn't know it was an elimination game potentially.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know the tiebreakers, but
if anybody,
I'm not the manager of Team USA.
If anybody should know the tiebreakers, it's him. So
also, classic Bryce Harper. Coach, I need a day. We've played like 3 games. Coach, I need a day off.
And he's one of the only 2 people that come in to the game that the roast, like still, I still like, I'm just saying, it's Team USA. You don't put your best lineup out there. Okay. You don't. You did not have your best lineup out there.
You admitted as much.
Yeah. It's a game that could get you eliminated. And still, when the game was like, okay, you were creeping back and it was like 8-4 and stuff, like you still didn't do anything creative or manage the game in a way. Like you only had 2 pinch hitters and put Bryce Terang in the game, right? I'm just going off of like, you watch playoff games and like just managers are just double switching and bringing in this guy, bringing in that guy, making defensive substitutions. How about this? You got, and I know he ended up scoring, right? And I think it had a little bit to do with slow relay, but like runs matter at this point, right? And you got a guy on first and second, and you're trying to score as many runs as possible, not just potentially tie and win the game, but the run differential matters. I'm sitting there being like, why aren't you pinch running Kyle Schwarber right now? Like, why just bring in Buxton? You know, bring in somebody who can, like, you're for sure if a single happens here, they're gonna go and score. Like that's the basic thoughts that baseball fans are having of like, hey, you got a guy who's probably not the fastest on at second right now, and scoring runs are really important. How about like we're late in the game too? Like Schwarber isn't going to come up to bat at all later in this. Like, how about you just sub out and put a faster guy on second base so you make sure if there's a single, we score a run here. And he didn't even do that. He did not manage a game that potentially could lead to his elimination. He really didn't. And then he waited until the 9th inning to put in a stud of a relief pitcher. It only took him 10 pitches to get through the side.
And then lie about it after the game. You misspoke. You did not misspeak. You were misinformed.
Once again, not a baseball expert, but enough to know that was just, and it didn't really, it's Josh, it doesn't have as much to do with like, if he made those moves, would they have won the game? It just has more to do with the fact that like, he just didn't do any of it.
It's actually not about the winning and the losing. It's about like the way you played, the way you manage,
the principle of managing.
And now you have to ask, are Mexico and Italy going to get together and collude to get the United States out of the World Baseball Classic and have both of those teams advance?
Probably not.
You see this in World Cup games where it's like, okay, we know what we have to do and what we don't have to do to get the big bad out of the tournament. So we're going to do that.
In an elimination game, we had retired Clayton Kershaw warming up in the bullpen to potentially come in and hold Italy to 8 runs in the 9th inning. Just leave it at that. Just going to leave it at that. We'll also talk about open practice. Who's looking the part for Husker football? Anthony Calandria. Apparently he's got a great presence. Don't make jokes. Don't make jokes.
Okay.
Don't make jokes. No jokes. No jokes. No jokes will be had. Presence is really going to matter when, 6'5" Ohio State defensive end is in his lap, right? Don't make jokes. But man, look at all the handshakes he's doing with his teammates.
They've been in the lab cooking up handshakes.
Stop it. That's all I saw. I mean, I love Michael Severe was great yesterday. He was tweeting like, dude, these boys look big. That's like, and he was like sending out pictures and all that stuff. And like, that was great. But then like the other videos I saw was just a bunch of Anthony Calandria, like doing a bunch of dance moves where I guess it's not everybody's fault, but there was some really good, observations made at open practice. Mubanga, the offensive guard that was acquired in the transfer portal from LSU, Paul Mubenga, 6'5", 315 pounds. Remember, we are a measurables radio show here.
That's right.
Great measurables. Look, we are getting to the point where it's like there are a lot of people who are trending upward in terms of how he's looking. Here's a excerpt from Husker Online. One player to keep an eye on going forward is Paul Mubenga, the 6'5", 315-pound junior from LSU is already standing out. Talking with some regular practice observers, some think Mubenga might end up being the best of the bunch on NU's offensive line this season. That's also something that I've heard as well, that Mubenga trending in the right direction and looking like already a very good acquisition on the offensive line for the transfer portal. No, the Kool-Aid meter has not gone up because of these reports. None of what happened in terms of how I think the team will do next season has changed the Kool-Aid meter through reading about these open practices. But there are some things that we definitely are going to read and talk about and things that might end up being interesting. We'll also read some of Michael Severe's tweets because I think he had some really, 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 really good insights as to what was going on. And we trust Michael immensely here on Middays with Matt. So we got a lot to talk about. We have to talk about Maxx Crosby not going to the Ravens. We have to talk about we probably will talk about a little bit more the World Baseball Classic, inform people on what Mark DeRosa said specifically. We'll talk about Husker football's open practice. We'll talk about college basketball. We have some tourney games going on today, some that might affect Nebraska's bid at the NCAA or at the Big Ten Tournament Championship. The Big East tournament begins today. Creighton will be in action tomorrow against Seton Hall, the 5 seed taking on the 4 seed. We'll talk to Jon Walker at 11 o'clock. He will be at the Big East tournament. I believe he's at MSG right now. We'll talk about the results that happened yesterday in college basketball. Will the West Coast Conference get 3 bids? We'll talk about that. Along with Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in an NBA game. Did we have the discourse we should have had after he passed the late, great Kobe Bryant for second most points scored in an NBA game? We will talk about that as well. Don't forget, you can reach out to us on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 42951-1620. Prairie Flower Casino, playing longer, win more. And the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally, always pick up on the first ring. Old Man Doug, shout out. And don't forget, at Producer Josh, at Matt McMedia. You can find us on the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by our friends Liquid Trucking. Shout out, Pesky Blues. Great show ahead of you here on 1620 Zone Middays with Matt. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We had 4 more teams yesterday go ahead and clinch their bids into the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to Siena of the MAC. Hofstra won the CAA. Wright State.
Wrong college.
Ended up being Detroit Mercy yesterday on a hell of a play. Did you see this block by Wright State's freshman? It was Kellen Pickett. He so at the very end of the game, Detroit Mercy had the beauty about some of these like mid-major conference tournaments is that the game isn't over until it's over. I mean, it just like the free throws and the inbounding and like the ability to break presses. It's not at the highest level of execution, right? And there are plenty of, especially if you're following the right people, you can get these guys to miss free throws and extend the game and give yourself an opportunity. That's what Detroit Mercy did yesterday. With 12 seconds left, Mercy's one of their best players, Orlando Lovejoy, went to the bucket, and it was a hell of a block by this. I mean, this Kellen Pickett guy, this is the beauty, too, of the mid-major conference tournaments where it's like you don't know who any of these guys are. It's your first time watching these teams play, and it ends up being pretty competitive and fun games because there's so much on the line. This dude is a long freshman, just blocked the crap out of Orlando Lovejoy trying to tie it up for Detroit Mercy. So Wright State. Wrong college. Come on.
Sorry.
Josh, play the bit.
I'm multitasking and failing.
Won the Horizon yesterday, and then Gonzaga ended up beating Santa Clara to win the West Coast Conference. Once again, Gonzaga wins the WCC. Santa Clara currently right now after their win over St. Mary's to get to the final is mocked as an 11 seed. Might survive the play-in potentially. They might. They're going to be on the border of it, but they should be okay. Be really big for the WCC to get 3 teams into their into the NCAA tournament. It seems like I don't know. We're going to talk to Jon Walker in a little bit, but I don't think the Big East is going to be very happy that the WCC is going to end up getting as many seeds.
Oh, sure.
Or bids in the NCAA tournament, albeit the Big East is going to come in probably at a 2 seed. 5 seed, and Nova could be an 8, probably. I'd probably put them at the 8 line. Honestly, it depends on how good of a Big Ten tournament a team like UCLA or maybe Georgia has a really good SEC tournament. So we'll see where Nova slots in at. But it seems like at this point, for sure, that Connecticut is going to be a 2 seed for the Big East and probably their best shot at winning another national championship. But yesterday, Siena, Hofstra, Gonzaga, Wright State, all dancing. Siena probably, so this is according to Bracket Matrix. Siena will be a 15 seed. Wright State from the Horizon League would be a 14 seed. Hofstra would be a 13 seed. And Gonzaga a 3 seed. So 13, 14, and 15 along with 3 locking in to the NCAA tournament. Currently, right now, Maryland and Iowa are going to tip off in a couple of minutes on Peacock. Can you guess how little the ticket cost could get into the United Center to watch this game, Mr. Josh Hudson?
$35.
$4.
Whoa.
Tickets are as low as $4 to get in for the first round matchups of the Big Ten tournament at the United Center. I love my hometown. I love my home stadium. Don't get me wrong. The UC, a great place. I can't wait. I will be there at the Big Ten Conference tournament covering it.
People forget.
1620 The Zone. I will be on a plane tomorrow to head back to Chicago, and then we will be doing the show from the United Center on Friday. Can't wait for that. That will be a ton of fun. The Big Ten tournament is way better in Indianapolis. It just is. It's just way better in Indy. Chicago's a great city, and it's a really good stadium, and you know there's fans who go to the UC and go to the tournament. They're gonna have a ton of fun. It's just not the same. I don't know. It just doesn't.
It'll pick up over the week.
I don't know. It doesn't feel right. And by the way, the pinwheel not being in center court is a disaster. Okay. Did you see the center logo? Did you see the center logo for the
Save
for
the pinwheel?
What do you mean?
Oh, I love my maps commercial
I do
and my
love my
pinwheel.
Maps commercial.
Oh, these are the things I need as a Big Ten fan.
Stop it.
Forget if one of the
Stop
teams is good or not. Just give me a pinwheel and a maps commercial.
You are acting as if you are not a sport fan who likes very in particular things and weird graphics and designs
I do.
don't
These
get
are
you
just
rubbed
two-
up the wrong way.
These are just two that I
All
don't
right?
care about.
You're the type of guy that you looked at Arizona's basketball court this year and you're like, oh my God, they got a cactus. It's so cool. All right. You did like the cactus. I know you like the cactus. So don't come to me and act like you're all high and mighty because you're a Big Ten hater and I can't like the pinwheel. I like the pinwheel. They like the pinwheel. All right. Get the pinwheel. I don't need the Chicago Bridge and 2 flags for the Chicago, the strike flag, the star flags. I don't need that. Give me the pinwheel.
It's a good flag.
It's an okay flag. It's over.
Whoa.
It's fine. It's okay.
Okay, maybe slightly overrated.
A
little overused.
Every DePaul dorm or every DePaul like student has the Chicago flag like in their apartment. Get out of here. You're not cool, right? I was sick and tired of going to kids who were in frats at Nebraska who were like from Barrington and they had the Chicago flag like they don't go to downtown 3 times a year. All right, get out of here.
My wife's family is from Barrington.
I know. Well, I didn't know that, but it's just like the people from Naperville got the Chicago flag up there. Like you're not 45 minutes away. Like get out of here, dude. Right? The only thing about Chicago that you know is that you went to Randolph Street when your mom took you to the Nederlander Theater to see some Broadway play that was touring. Get out of here.
These are very specific insults.
I know, but it's just. J-Man goes, middays triggered over a pinwheel and a cactus on brand. That's why, we are a firecracker of a show.
Mm-hmm.
We are the most progressive show. We are the horniest show. We are a show.
We're a lot of things.
We love measurables.
We're an enigma.
Claude and Puma apparently looked the part yesterday, 6'8". I think they said, what did Husker Online say? How much did he weigh? They said, I want to read this about Claude and Puma. Freshman Claude and Puma also stood out physically in the offensive line group. And Puma is 6'8" and 270 pounds. He looks pretty lean with a frame to bulk up if needed. 6'8", I feel like he'd be a little bit. Maybe get him up to 310, 305, something like that. Guy, I'm pretty sure he didn't start playing like football until a couple of years ago. But the Mount Carmel product. Looking the part, some would say. We'll talk about open practice at some point in the show. But most importantly, coming up next, Jon Walker joins us probably. Okay, are we going to make a bet? Do you think he's at MSG or do you think he's in LaGuardia? We'll put.
I'll go LaGuardia.
Okay, there are 3 options. Is
he doesn't need to be in the arena yet?
Is Jon Walker in one of 4 places? Is he in Omaha? Is he at an airport? Is he at the most famous arena in the world? Or is he at a hotel? We will find up next. Coming up here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, there's an incredible conversation going on right now between Josh Odson and Jon Walker. Josh is trying to figure out where Jon is, and I think Jon was trying to figure out if maybe he was going to be too loud or something like that. Do we have Jon?
We
have
do.
Whiskey?
You won't guess where he is.
Okay. Whiskey, how are you?
Do you want to take a guess at where I am?
Okay, I'll take a guess at where you're at. Are you in New York?
No, unfortunately. I cannot tell you how badly I wish I was in New York right now.
Oh no. Are you at like the Denver airport?
No. I'm not going to New York.
Oh, what? What is happening?
I know. I'm sorry to share the unfortunate news. I'm not going to New York for the Big East tournament.
That is so unlike you. That is like when I think of the Big East tournament, I think of Jon Walker.
Dude,
I think of you.
I'm saying, man. But that's okay. I am currently so when Dan called, I said, "Can you hear water running?" And he said, "Are you at Niagara Falls?" He said,
Yes.
"No." "Are you at like Niagara Falls or something?"
Yeah.
I said, "No, I'm currently shaving up my cheek line, and shaving up my beard to go cover state basketball in Lincoln."
You're in Lincoln. Jon Walker of Omaha and Lincoln.
I will be, yes. What's up, Matt? How are you, man?
I'm so disappointed. I wanted you to be in the most famous arena in the world. I wanted you to be chumming it up with the St. John's beat writers. I wanted you to kind of snicker at the Yukon beat writers because who went to Storrs, Connecticut and whooped their ass? It was the Creighton Blue Jays. Jon, this is a little. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed for us.
I know, man.
Okay.
I am too. I really.
You don't have to.
Really,
Yeah.
Really. I really enjoy the trip to New York. I really do. I'm from Baltimore.
You are.
But I, moved from Baltimore when I was like 10. So, and then I moved to St. Joe, Missouri. So, Kansas City was down the road, but for all intents and purposes, I never fully experienced a big city, right?
Yeah.
And so then I get to go to New York City and go cover basketball. I get paid to go cover basketball games at Madison Square Garden. That's like a dream come true. So yes, I'm disappointed that I will not be there in person this year, but boy, am I excited for the madness that awaits us.
Do you think there will be any true bid stealers in any of the power conferences in this go around in conference tournaments? I feel like it's, I don't know, NC State, right? They were a couple of years ago, they were a bid stealer, if I'm not mistaken, and they had a beautiful run all the way to the Final Four. Are there any teams that you have in the back of your head that you're seeing, or maybe even in the Big East, that maybe could make a magical run and take away one of the bids, one of the at-large bids here?
I truthfully think if it was going to happen in any of the high major conferences, it probably would happen in the Big East.
I agree with that.
Because and a lot of it has to do with the chaos of the Big East this year. Yes. But just statistically by volume, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at the ladder bracket format that you now have to go through in the SEC, in the Big 10, in the Big 12. It's me and Wilson Moore were just talking about this on this week's episode of Half Court Press. We were just joking around, just joshing around about Penn State. Penn State would have to win 6 games in 6 days to steal the Big 10 bid. What team is winning 6 games in 6 days?
No team.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no team.
So I think the format of conference tournament brackets nowadays probably hinders that from happening, a true bid stealer. And the other thing is, Matt, half of these conferences are already in the field.
Yeah.
So it's the 8th seed from the Big 10, a team that's already in the field, wins the conference tournament. By no means is it a bid stealer.
No,
So,
you're
I
right.
don't know.
You're right. You're correct.
I don't know. If it was going to happen, I think it happens in the Big East, but I really don't see it happening in any other of the high major conferences.
I honestly, if DePaul didn't crap the bed the last couple of games of the season and got that first bye instead of Creighton, I would have told you, hey, maybe DePaul could shock the world. Because here's what it really takes, in my opinion, to steal a bid in the NCAA in the Big East tournament. If somehow St. John's just slips and falls before the final, we've seen that you can go and get UConn. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't have to play both St. John's and UConn, I think there's a legitimate shot at there being a bid stealer in the Big East, because all you need is an upset. Like, all you need is just a simple upset, because I think Villanova is very just beatable straight up. I think Seton Hall and Creighton are very beatable straight up. I don't think there's anyone that can't beat each other in this very first round between, Butler and Providence and Xavier and Marquette and Georgetown and DePaul. Like, all those teams can defeat one another.
Absolutely.
It really just takes St. John's crap in the bed or UConn crap in the bed, and then you getting into a final with one of those two teams, and then you just have a magical day. I think that very well could happen.
Yeah, I think so too. And the really interesting thing is that with the way the Big East shook out, and DePaul losing out, and Providence dropping a game, and Creighton beating Butler, thus Butler losing, like, Providence ended up getting in the 8-9 game. So now, Providence Butler gets St. John's.
And who beat? Yeah, there you go.
Providence is one of only two teams to beat St. John's at the Garden this year. The other is Alabama. And that was the second game of the season. So Providence is a really interesting situation because it's a lame duck at this point. Do the players pour themselves into this week for themselves
with Kim English
knowing that their head coach is being fired? That's such an odd situation. But regardless, we have all seen, Providence has the talent to beat every single team in this conference. They should have beat UConn on the road, right? And then UConn came back from down 13 in the final 3 minutes to force overtime. They beat St. John's at the Garden. So it is very feasible that St. John's gets sniped on Friday or on Thursday. I'm sorry. Is it likely? No, of course not. Because good luck playing St. John's at the Garden.
Okay. So
it's very feasible. It is very realistic that St. John's gets sniped before Friday's semifinals.
We have a lot to pivot off of a lot of what you just said. Let's first start with the less obvious question, and that's, how attractive of a job is Providence?
I would say now a lot's going to happen over the next few weeks. Sure, but Providence is probably the most enticing job available right now.
Ooh, more so than Kansas State?
Yeah, that's the tough one.
I think, K-State is all dependent. It's all dependent on how much money you get in Manhattan.
Exactly. So I covered Oklahoma State for a while, and the same thing applies to them in Oklahoma as it does to Kansas and Kansas State. No matter how good you are, no matter what you do, you're always the afterthought in your own state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't really know how much people care about that. I don't think coaches are oh man, I'm not going to go to Kansas State because Kansas is down the road. And if that is a consideration, I probably don't want to hire that guy anyway. But from a brand standpoint, it's absolutely true. So yeah, how much money are you going to get is the big thing, of course, with Kansas State. But I'd say Providence and K-State are easily the top two jobs available at this moment.
Okay. And then let's talk about the Big East tournament being at Madison Square Garden. Obviously, you look around the country, there are other conference tournaments that take place in areas where it would be advantageous for one fan base to take over, in theory, right? The worst example.
Right, sure.
The worst example, but in theory, right, they play the Big Ten Conference tournament in Chicago. Chicago has a Big Ten team, right? Now, are the Wildcats gonna fill up the United Center and make it a home court advantage? No, they can't even make their 10,000 person stadium. I think it's even less than that, a home court advantage. So with that being said, though, I mean, how annoyed are people in the Big East, over the fact that St. John's gets a massive home court advantage in the Big East tournament?
Oh, yeah. People in the Big East hate it.
I mean, would that ever change or make your argument?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I don't think it needs to change personally because nobody really gave a damn that the tournament was at the Garden when St. John's wasn't good.
There it is.
Nobody said a word. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
So, yes, is it a factor? Absolutely. As somebody whose ears are still ringing from last year's championship game, yes, being in that environment in what is typically and designed to be a neutral site is absolutely a disadvantage for any team not named St. John. But I think the fan bases that have the biggest problem with it, of course, are Creighton and Marquette, which makes sense as the westernmost members of an Eastern league. I won't ramble too long on this, but it's so easy. And why UConn had turned MSG into Store South for a few years is because if you're Providence, if you're Nova, if you're UConn, you can just hop on the train and take a couple-hour trip to New York City, right? Or you can hop in your car if you really want to do that and just drive down to New York City. So, those fan bases usually get in. If their teams give them a reason to be there, they usually can get there.
Yeah.
That's not as easy to do for a team like Creighton, for a team like Marquette. So I understand, and I completely think it's viable why people don't like St. John's having home court advantage, technically home court advantage at the Big East tournament. But what other league in the country can say that they begin and end their season at the world's most famous arena?
Yep. I think it's very on brand for that league to play that conference tournament at that arena. And I don't think there are as many venues in the country that people understand that raise the stakes of the events that are going on there.
Yeah.
There just aren't that many venues that when it's played there, it's a bigger deal because it's played there. And Madison Square Garden, any game at Madison Square Garden, even, Knicks games, and they play there 41 times a year, are a very big deal because it's at MSG, because it's such a... So if you have that venue, I mean, let me tell you something right now. Big East decided to move from Madison Square Garden, there would be another conference who immediately would try and book their conference tournament there because it's it's just that type of arena. So I think you're
go ahead.
No, I think you're right. I think you're spot on. I think the benefits of having the tournament there from a optics perspective outweighs the fact that when St. John's is good, it's an advantage for them.
The other thing I would say, and I often say this when we're talking about players and minutes and this, that, and the other. I'm often okay, if you want that guy, the guy you think deserves to play, if you want him to get on the court, who are you taking off of it, right? I always say that. So if you want to move the Big East tournament from MSG, where do you want to move it?
That would
be my question.
Yeah, I think it actually, funny enough, it'd be really funny if the Big Ten and the Big East switched venues. If you want to completely mitigate home court advantages.
Did they do that a couple years? Didn't the Big Ten try MSG a couple years ago?
I think they did. Yeah, they did. But I mean, I think I don't think it would make sense. I mean,
if the Big 12 for some god awful reason goes to Vegas, the Big Ten should go to Kansas City.
Well, the Big Ten's going to Vegas. They're going to Vegas not next year, but the year after, I believe.
I know. And I'm personal. I like going to Vegas for Players Era, and that's been fun the past couple of years. But I just am not the biggest fan of Vegas. And I'm not saying that because I've lost a lot of money at the slots or anything, but it's relatively unwalkable compared to a lot of cities. And maybe part of that is because when I've gone there the past 2 years, it's been directly after F1. So all of their stuff was still set up and obstructing and whatnot. So maybe I think a lot different of Vegas if I went in May.
I just don't think a mainly Midwestern league should have their conference tournament out west.
And
I don't even think
not at all.
I don't even think they're catering to like the West Coast teams when they go out to Vegas. I think they're just out in Vegas because they're going to get a good deal out there. Like I don't think the Big Ten really gives a damn about UCLA and Oregon and all those teams having to travel less for the conference tournament. I don't think that's
they don't care. They don't care. And I think in most cases, the fact of the matter is it's usually a lot cheaper to get to Vegas than it is. Even like for some of these teams, it's a lot cheaper to get to Vegas than it is Kansas City.
Yeah. All right, John, real quickly here before we let you go, I we haven't talked about the Jays at all just because it's just, conference tournament week and there's a ton going on. But I mean, I think that I would feel a lot better about this team's chances to make a improbable run and steal a bid in the NCAA tournament if they didn't have to go through St. John's, but they do have to go through St. John's. So what's your outlook for Creighton's chances in the Big East tournament?
Pace, and more pace. We saw a week ago what that did for the Jays when they went to Indianapolis and dismantled Butler. Now, we will find out against Seton Hall in about 24 hours from now if Creighton finally clicked or if Nick Graves simply took advantage of Butler not having Stink Robinson. And that's not a knock on Nick Graves, and that's not to discredit Creighton's win, but all wins are not created equal. Seton Hall, 13th in Ken Palm's defensive efficiency, first in block rate, 6th in turnover rate. Seton Hall's defense is going to bring it for 40 minutes tomorrow at the Garden. And they're probably going to have quite a bit more fans than Creighton will have in the building. So I don't know how many, but Seton Hall certainly gave its fans a reason to cheer this year after being picked last in the Big East preseason poll. So maybe they make the trip from Newark and they pack the place to help the Pirates try and keep their ship afloat. However, if Creighton can string together stops and not give up second chances, they can clean the glass, then that will take Seton Hall out of its defense. Then the Pirates will not be able to press, will not be able to pick up, and instead, like Butler had to a week ago, will have to scramble in a transition defense. And by then, Creighton typically has what it wants offensively. That's the way this team was designed to go. So they did it against Butler. Can they do it against a much better defense in Seton Hall? And then, Matt, can they do the same thing against St. John's, which philosophically wants to do the exact same thing that Seton Hall does, but is extremely better at it.
Yeah.
So I really think the Jays they're going to have to get stops, or they're going to have to string together stops, because that's what they've struggled to do this year. And when they do get stopped, they're going to have to clean the glass, because that's been a really good barometer for this team's success this year. And then, of course, like all Creighton teams, like all Greg McDermott teams, they're going to have to hit some shots. And maybe, just maybe, Matt, this team can pull off the improbable, win 3 games in 3 days, and for the first time in program history, cut down the nets in New York City.
This Creighton basketball team has not won games back-to-back in the year of 2026. They will look to do that for the first time tomorrow against Seton Hall in their first game of the Big East tournament, and then try and do it again and again to steal a bid in the NCAA tournament and avoid not making the tournament. First time, I believe, 7 years, John? It'd be the first time that or 7 seasons rather.
Yeah, it was.
So,
they were on track to make the COVID tournament, and we all know how that turned out.
I
so.
wish they just made that COVID bracket and then just said that certain teams made it, because we always have to do that caveat with the whole thing of like, well, they haven't made it in this many years, but you're like, oh, Dayton would have made it in 2020, and so would NDSU and all that BS. But anyway, Jon Walker, the Omaha World-Herald. We will talk to you next Wednesday, my friend.
See you, Matt. Don't be shocked if Marquette makes some noise this week.
Okay. All right. Throwing down a shot.
That's my sleeper pick. That's my sleeper pick.
All right.
Marquette.
All right. Marquette, who's playing some pretty good basketball, beat UConn to end the regular season. Jon Walker has them making a run. I have us thinking about the Baltimore Ravens and the sleazy thing that they did over the last couple of days. Was it a spur of the moment sleazy decision, or was this a premeditated sleazeball decision? We will discuss next, coming up on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com. We got a bunch of great concerts and events that we want to send you to. You can go to 1620thezone.com and enter yourself for an opportunity to win your way to Journey in Lincoln. There will be at PBA April 9th. Maybe Joe Coy on April 17th at the Holland Center. George Thorogood and the Discouraged will be at the Astro on May 17th. The Black Keys will be at the Astro as well on July 20th. On August 3rd, the Young Giant is heading to Omaha at the Astro too. And finally, our main event, Chris Stapleton is in Lincoln for the All-American Roadshow Tour on October 7th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Don't forget, go to 1620thezone.com with an opportunity to enter yourself into those contests to win tickets. We are going to be giving away tickets today here on Middays with Matt. Hardy is taking his country tour to Omaha. He will be here on March 21st at the CHI Health Center. We will be giving away tickets at around, let's say 12:30 today. We'll give away some tickets to Hardy. So stay tuned for that. Some things happened in sports yesterday. Bam Adebayo scored 83 points in an NBA game to pass the late great Kobe Bryant as the second most points scored in an NBA game of all time. But it seemed like all anybody was talking about was Maxx Crosby not going to the Baltimore Ravens anymore. He suffered a knee injury, hurt his meniscus, which actually caused a big rift between the Las Vegas Raiders and Maxx Crosby, which led to this trade. So essentially what happened going back to, the season that occurred for the Las Vegas Raiders, Crosby hurts his meniscus. Crosby goes to the Vegas Raiders doctors. The Raiders tell him, we're going to shut you down. We don't want you to play. And Maxx Crosby did not like that. He got a second and third opinion from doctors who said, he actually could play on this knee if he wanted to. And Crosby, who hasn't won anything in the NFL, I think he's only played in one playoff game in his career, very much prides himself on playing as many games as he possibly can, being there for his teammates, giving it his all, and did not like the fact whatsoever that he was being shut down by his own team for the reason of he doesn't want to tank. He doesn't believe in tanking. He doesn't believe in teams losing games on purpose in order to improve its draft stock. And that's what he thought the Raiders were doing by shutting him down. And that created a massive rift and disconnect between the two sides. And also, too, Crosby knows that, the best years of his career are very much ahead of him, but the NFL stands for not for long, and really out of nowhere, it could be done. Your prime could be kaput, if you will. And he wants to win. And so he basically established that, no longer did he have a strong enough connection with the Vegas Raiders to be there anymore. And he wanted to go and play for a winner, wanted to go and play in big games because that's something he hasn't done. And so henceforth, this trade to the Baltimore Ravens was conducted. It was very much established from the get-go that the Raiders, who are in desperate need of just better players, right? I mean, they just need more good players in general. They don't have a great player problem. They just have a serviceable player problem. Went ahead and traded Crosby for 2 first-round draft picks, and that was kind of their price. That's where they stood at, and they had a lot of teams that range from the Cowboys to the Eagles to the Chicago Bears vying for Crosby services, and eventually the Baltimore Ravens agreed to give the Raiders what they wanted, 2 first-round draft picks. And so that agreement was made on Friday of last week. I remember because I was actually having a drink with Josh Peterson when it occurred after the great event they had at the T-Box. Great place, by the way, the T-Box, where we had Unsportsmanlike Conduct on Friday. A ton of fun if you want to get your golf game better. Shout out Josh, who works at the T-Box and listens to 1620 The Zone. If you're listening, Josh, you're the man. Josh and I were sitting at the bar, and Crosby got traded to the Baltimore Ravens. We cheers because we were like, well, thank God it didn't go to the Eagles. Thank God it didn't go to one of our rivals. And so Baltimore did something they had never done before. Baltimore, in the 30-plus year history of the Baltimore Ravens, they have never traded first-round picks for a veteran player. That's not something that they've done. That's not in their DNA. That's not really how they do things. And we went through this on, I believe, Thursday, Josh, like the Baltimore Ravens throughout their entirety of their history have a very impressive record of first-round draft picks. Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Ronnie Stanley, Kyle Hamilton, Lamar Jackson, right? These are guys that, first round has been very kind to the Baltimore Ravens. And we talk about teams all the time doing well in the middle rounds. I think a great team, a great example is that the Seattle Seahawks, through their recent history of John Schneider as their general manager, has done really well at drafting in the middle rounds. The Baltimore Ravens have been one of the best teams drafting in the top rounds. And so they don't like to give up their first round draft picks. It's not something they've done before. Well, they did not only just give up one, but give up two to the Raiders until yesterday, where, like I had mentioned before, Crosby, who has hurt his knee, who had meniscus surgery, went to the doctors of the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens said, nope. No. We are not going to go through with this. He is not far enough in the process in terms of his knee injury to garner what we are giving up for him. And we are going to back out of the trade. We're not going to do this trade because Maxx Crosby is not healthy enough. My immediate reaction was, damn, I guess this knee injury is way worse than we thought it was. Maybe Maxx Crosby's surgery didn't go well, or maybe this is going to damage his value. Probably will, because the Ravens said, no, we're not going to take him. But regardless, it was just a lot of, man, is he okay? Like, is this minor injury that he wanted to play on actually really, really bad? And then as you kind of did some more digging on Twitter, it very much came out that, no, this is not what happened. This is not about Crosby's health. The Baltimore Ravens got cold feet. The Baltimore Ravens had buyer's remorse on giving up 2 first-round picks, something that they've never done before in their franchise's history for a veteran player. And I will say this. I know a guy that we like to make jokes about him and stuff like that. But Will Compton actually had a really great insight through his own personal experiences as to this is kind of how the Ravens do things. He talked about his former teammate, Ryan Grant, who signed a deal in 2018. It was a 4-year deal in 2018 with the Baltimore Ravens. But then in 2018, after agreeing to the deal with Grant, Michael Crabtree, a name that we all know. Not a lot of people know who Ryan Grant is, right? But a lot of people hear Michael Crabtree and they go, oh, yes, I know that guy. He's been in some big games, made some big plays. The former San Francisco 49er. Michael Crabtree became available. Also a former Las Vegas Raider, funny enough. Crabtree becomes available. And what do the Ravens do? They fail Ryan Grant's physical. They get out of his contract and they sign Michael Crabtree. And so this is kind of something that people have thought that the sleazeball Ravens have done before, and they did it again. My question is, and look, I don't think so I had a text this morning from my buddy because the Ravens fail Maxx Crosby on his physical. They get their first round picks back. And then today, what do? They sign Trey Hendrickson. By the way, if you're kind of looking at the analytical stats and you're looking at, pass rush win rate and you're looking at, total sacks over the last couple of years, this is kind of a better signing in a way for the Ravens than trading 2 first round. I mean, undoubtedly, signing Trey Hendrickson to this deal as opposed to trading 2 first round picks for Maxx Crosby is the better decision, right? If you were given, hey, sign Trey Hendrickson for a deal that actually is going to end up being less in value than Jalen Phillips, sign him to that deal or trade 2 first round picks for Maxx Crosby, what would you rather do? You'd rather sign Trey Hendrickson. This isn't, this just happened. Crosby failed his physical and they just pivoted to signing Trey Hendrickson. This was thought out. I mean, to me, this was planned. I mean, I had a friend text me today and say, wow, this is really suspicious. I don't think there's anything suspicious about this. I think this is very much out there. Now, I don't know if this is premeditated or if this is something that happened. And what I mean by that is this. Did the Ravens on Friday make the deal with Maxx Crosby, make the deal with the Raiders to get Maxx Crosby, and have in the back of their head, hey, we'll agree to this and we'll for sure secure the job, the services of a pass rusher that is going to improve our lackluster pass rush game on defense. We'll go ahead and agree to this trade and for sure have a pass rusher that we can bring in. But we're going to keep our eye on Trey Hendrickson. And if things kind of pan out the way that they do, we'll go ahead. We'll just fail Crosby on his physical and sign Hendrickson. Was that the plan from the get-go? Or did this just kind of occur? Did the free agency market kind of just shuffle out the way that it shuffled? Did it just pan out the way that it panned out? And then all of a sudden on Tuesday, or rather Monday, the Ravens are sitting there being like, hey, we can just fail Crosby in his physical and get Hendrickson if we really want. I wonder if this was premeditated or if this is just kind of the cookie crumbled the way that the cookie crumbled. But I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that the Ravens just got cold feet. And they just decided, you know what, there is a much better way to do this for our franchise. Now, I call it sleazeball. Some people can just be like, hey, dude, it's a business. Yeah, that's cutthroat what they did. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens get to keep 2 first-round draft picks, and they signed a guy in Trey Hendrickson who has better pressure/pass rush win rates. Now, Hendrickson, not as good as in the run game as Maxx Crosby is. But in terms of getting to the quarterback, which the Ravens desperately need a guy who can get to the quarterback, Hendrickson, from all intents and purposes, beats Crosby out in that. So you call it cutthroat, you call it being a business, I call it effing people over. And the Ravens effed a lot of people over. They effed the Raiders over. They kind of effed Maxx Crosby over. They potentially are going to F over some other players of a team who is under the cap currently right now and wants to go and get Crosby. These contracts haven't been signed. The free agency period officially opens up today at 3:00. So, for example, and I'm just throwing this out there, the Bears, who were a team that very much were involved in the Maxx Crosby sweepstakes, they only have $8 million in salary carved out currently right now. They're only $8 million under the cap. The Bears hypothetically could go back on deals they agreed to verbally and say, no, we got to open up cap space, could go ahead and be able to trade for Maxx Crosby, right? The Dallas Cowboys are currently $3 million over the cap right now. They've made it clear, great reporting from Diana Rossini, they're not going to be back in the Crosby sweepstakes. So, the Eagles, they're $10 million under the cap. They would have to free up $25 million in cap space. In theory, to go and get Crosby, they would have to trade a guy that they weren't anticipating trading, or do they go back on deals they verbally agreed to because they haven't signed yet, right? That's the situation the Ravens have put some teams in if they're going to go and get Crosby. They've also screwed over the Raiders because they're not going to get the same value. I mean, teams are just not going to agree to pay 2 first-round draft picks for a guy who failed the physical. I mean, they're just not going to do that. And so the Raiders got screwed. Now you can kind of spin zone and say, hey, they had a pretty good free agency pool, and now they get to add Maxx Crosby, right? It's kind of like girl math in a way. When they talk about when you return something and you get money back and then you spend that money, you only spent X amount of money. You've heard of that meme before.
Oh, yeah.
Shots.
Oh, yeah.
You can look at it as, the Raiders added Tyler Linderbaum and they got Maxx Crosby back. But I think this was malpractice, blatant malpractice by the Ravens. It's sleazeball activity. And unfortunately, there's really nothing the NFL can do about it. The Ravens, in technicality, follow the rule of the law. They traded for a guy. They got the guy. They did the physical. He had surgery in the offseason. The surgery isn't progressing the way that we like it to progress. We're not going to agree to this deal. Sorry. Oh, we're going to pivot. We're going to go and sign a guy that actually does what we want better than what Maxx Crosby does. And we actually kind of got him on a sweetheart deal, 4 years, $112 million. Ain't bad. The Ravens did the best moves for them, but did it in just a very, very a-hole way that I don't agree with. So
you definitely want to make a yes or no decision before Instagram posts are made and Maxx Crosby says goodbye to Las Vegas on his podcast and all of that.
He's probably going to end up playing for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like that's probably what is going to end up happening. Probably the more likely result than anything is Maxx Crosby going to be wearing the silver and black. And, I kind of feel bad for Crosby because he wanted out of Vegas. He made it clear what he wanted.
Yeah.
And for a couple of days, he thought he got what he wanted. Hey, I'm going to go to a franchise that's won a lot of football games. That's been to where I want to be. That I'm going to play in high stakes football games now. And yesterday, the Baltimore Ravens restructured Lamar Jackson's contract in order to give themselves more cap space. I think people thought they're readying themselves to bring in the Maxx Crosby contract, and it actually just seems like they were readying themselves to bring in the Trey Hendrickson contract, which they did this morning. Something to keep an eye on, though. The Detroit Lions restructured Jared Goff's deal yesterday. And it opened up $35 million in cap space for the Detroit Lions. It actually opened up enough cap space for Detroit to bring in the Maxx Crosby contract basically right on the dot. So, something to keep an eye on. Maybe the Detroit Lions, after having a disappointing 2025, kind of put their chips in, make a move, and get a guy that can pass rush right next to Aiden Hutchinson next season, which would make that defense electric immediately upon arrival. We will see. Also, would be a return to the state of Michigan for Maxx Crosby, who played his college at Eastern Michigan. So something to keep an eye on. Very, very interesting happening there in Detroit after that move was made. So we will keep tabs on the Maxx Crosby situation after apparently he was going to be a Raven and no more. After the Ravens will claim and Baltimore fans will claim, he's not healthy enough. Actions in the past and then actions followed up by those actions would say otherwise. Coming up next, after the wacky things that happen in the NFL, we give you more wacky things that happen across the country. It's the Odd News with Josh Odd's son here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
We dive deep into the odd news today. A lot of odd news. Things have been happening in and around sports, but what is the odd news happening maybe outside of sports, Josh Hudson? Or maybe you have one that isn't inside sports.
I have one that is inside sports.
Is it about the Big 12?
It is not.
Okay.
Should it be?
No, we're going to talk about
it
in a little bit because I'm a fan of people being creative, but some things that are creative doesn't mean that they're smart.
I want to talk about the whack.
Oh, I love the whack. It is a Wacky Guest Wednesday, by the way. We bring in our Wacky Guest Wednesday every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, where we don't know who they're going to be, except for Josh Otz and I guess now Connor Happer and Mike Schaefer and on the bit as well.
They do know.
They do know. All right, what's our first story?
The WAC issued an ultimatum to Utah Valley.
I did see this
earlier on Tuesday, casting the school's spot in the WAC tournament field into jeopardy. An issue was Utah Valley's exit fee as it prepares to depart the Big West in July. The WAC statement characterized the payment as necessary for compliance with a Utah judge ordering a $1 million escrow fee. Utah Valley was set to be the number 1 seed this week in the WAC tournament in Vegas. They had an automatic bye to, what would that be, tomorrow's semifinals on the men's side. They're the 4 seed on the women's side, and the WAC said, you don't get to play in the tournament if you don't give us $1 million and get in good standing. Utah Valley paid the $1 million, and everything appears to be copacetic now.
So I saw this, and immediately I think Utah Valley has to have like some sort of donor, that they can be like, please, or like just something, just anything to pay this $1 million. Good for the WAC, by the way. I just
good for the WAC.
I want to kind of state that. Like all these teams are kind of like going to all these different conferences and bailing. And look, to a certain extent, you got to do what you got to do. But I do like some conference standing up for themselves. Hey, the WAC, whether or not it's a bluff or not, laid down the ultimatum, and they got their money. They got their money. So congratulations to the WAC. Congratulations for Utah Valley for finding that money. I hope all sides prosper. And I actually hope that Utah Valley makes it in the NCAA tournament. That should be fun. That would be fun for them.
That would be a heck of a story. We go to Philadelphia for story number 2. A business owner trying to figure out why her company received 600 tubs of French onion dip.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's too much.
What?
Yeah, that's too much.
I love French onion.
Okay. Then you need to go to the Mac Mart, a food stand in Philadelphia, as they received a shipment containing 600 tubs of hell of a good French onion dip. Owner Marty Lieberman shared the story on Instagram. Quote, I have a bit of a funny story I need to share with you right away because we are in a little bit of a French onion pickle. She said they've gotten a suspicious email from Australia offering to send her business 50 to 100 cases of French onion dip. While the email did not appear strange at first, Lieberman said as things progressed, there were a lot of red flags. She ultimately responded saying she would take a sample to see if it would be a good fit and then blocked the email address. On Thursday, a delivery driver arrived at her stand with the delivery. The company, Hell of a Good, did not say, they said they don't know where this came from. They're doing an internal investigation. They believe it is likely from a third party who desperately had to get rid of the product.
We got to dump all this French onion dip. Quick, think of a plan. Oh, I found this little place in this market. We could just put it all on them.
What if we just ship it to people?
Get the burner phones. Get the burner phones. They can't trace us. They can't let us know who's sending them the French onion dip. That's incredible. Now, could they just gave it to these people, right? Did they get any money?
Well, she asked for a sample and got and got 600 tubs. I don't I feel like there's a piece of information we're missing.
Do you like French onion dip? You a French onion dip?
It's fine.
I love French onion dip. My mom makes her own French onion dip now because we are such a French onion dip family.
Okay.
And my mom's French onion dip is better than your mom's French onion dip. All right, let's just put it that way.
Good to know.
You haven't had French onion dip until you have Martha McMaster's French onion.
Got to get Martha on the Wacky Guest Wednesday.
No, we don't. We do not.
Martha, email me.
No, she's not going to email.
She might.
I'm not going to allow her to. I'm not going to. She doesn't listen to the beginning of the show where I tell her, hey, if you want to reach us at the Equitable Bank inbox, you can email Matt at 1620 The Zone.
Platt Cat with a good follow-up question. I have the allergies going on. I'm not speaking as clearly as I should. He asked if I'm saying tons or tubs.
Tubs. You said tubs.
Tubs,
Bees.
containers.
Bees, babe.
Yeah.
Bees, babe. Not peas.
Right.
Bees. It's been, always has been, always will be, babe.
Important clarification.
600 tons is a lot of weight.
That is.
That's what? 1.2 million pounds?
Sure.
Something like that.
You seem like you know what you're talking about,
Well,
so I'm going to agree with you.
2,000 times 600. By the way,
I don't know how you know that.
A ton is 2,000.
Okay.
Do you not know how much a ton is? Yeah, it's 1.2 million
No, I
pounds.
have no idea.
Poll question is your mom's French onion dip better than Matt's mom's dip? That's a great question.
Great question.
We have a couple of Seth was asking a couple of poll questions in the Equitable Bank inbox that we'll get to later. Josh, what's our third story?
We go to Florida where a Florida man has been arrested.
All right, for what? Okay, can I guess? Can I guess?
Sure.
All right. I think this story involves a strip club, a motor vehicle, and a fire. That's what I'm going to go with. A strip club, a motor vehicle, and a fire.
You amazingly got one of the three correct.
Okay, cool. Where are we at?
We're at a strip club.
We're always at a strip club. Okay.
A Florida man has been arrested for allegedly lap lifting. Josh, what is lap lifting?
Yes, what is lap lifting? Are we going to find out that maybe we've lap lifted before?
I hope you haven't.
Okay, what is this?
These women are trying to put themselves through school. Police allege that Roberto Maldonado, 46 years young, got 15 straight private dances early Friday morning at Rain, a club in Clearwater.
Oh, okay. Are they going to have like rain night at the next Orlando Magic game?
This is REIGN, like Roman Reigns.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to rein it in.
He was not in attendance. I just want to be crystal clear about that. The dances, he's a family man. The dances cost $40 a piece.
That's a good deal.
And an additional $50 review fee, whatever that is.
What?
Brought his tab up to $650.
Can you imagine being at a strip club?
You got to give us 5 stars.
And you and you get a lap dance, and then they're like, "Hey, if you can click this link here on your receipt and go ahead and give us fill out the survey and leave us a review and let us know how we're doing, you'll actually get $15 off your next lap dance if you do that. Bring the coupon." All right, continue. So he went. He got the dances, $40 plus a survey fee, and then
runs up a tab of $650. However, after Maldonado enjoyed the lap dance marathon, he refused to pay the bill, instead offering only $50. When police arrived at the club around, what are you going to do? Take the dance back? Police arrived at the club around 1:15 a.m. And explained to Maldonado, who appeared to be under the influence, that payment was required for the services rendered. Cops say Maldonado then spoke incoherently and was speaking in circles. He refused to make any effort to pay the lap dance fee. He was then arrested and booked into county jail, where he spent the night before being released on his own recognizance. Judges ordered him to stay away from that club or any club, and prohibited him from using drugs or alcohol.
Okay. Well, I agree with the latter of that. I think that's a very smart judgment there. I mean, to be fair to Orlando, he could have said there's a reason I had to get 15 of them. We can negotiate here because, I'm paying for goods and services, and those services just weren't good enough for me, if you will.
I don't mean to expose too much about your life or my life on the air,
Matt. Go ahead.
Have you ever been to a strip club?
No, I've never been to a strip club.
Okay.
The only strip club that I've seen the inside of is the one on Happy Days.
Okay. Let me tell you about the strip clubs I've been to.
Okay.
you're giving them the money first.
Oh, this is an upfront payment.
Every single time.
So you can't buy lap dances on credit?
No.
There's no credited lap dances?
No.
Okay.
There's no punch card. There's no.
No. Okay. There's not an IOU when it comes to lap dances.
Exactly.
It's an upfront fee.
Exactly.
You know, I do think it's pretty smart though that the $50 survey fee that you have to fill out here. You know, one of those things where it's like, you know what? If I'm paying $90, I might as well pay $130. I might as well double up and get 2 lap dances.
Right.
Okay. Travis goes BOGO on lap dances.
BOGO.
There's not like a Tuesday deal. Dude, I actually because I am impartial. If you have a good lunch deal or a lunch special, I will be there. You know, like anytime I go to a restaurant and they go, our specials today are this, I'm probably more in tune to get the special. Like I'm a special guy.
Now I have seen some places with a Monday or Tuesday.
A Monday strip club special. What's our month? Yeah.
2 songs for the price of one.
Why,
or
dude? Why
something like
not?
that.
I would love. Yeah, seriously. Hey, get a $40 lap dance for the price of $20. I'll be there. That's a great deal. You know, or maybe like the fifth lap dance is free. That'd get me through the door. You know,
and that's really what it's all about. You got to get the people in the door.
Exactly. You got to have good deals at a strip club. Travis goes, Spearmint Rhino used to offer a $5.99 burger and fries at their lunch special. That'd get, dude, come on. Is there a better deal in town?
I mean, that's a great price.
It's a phenomenal
I don't know what
price.
year that deal was going down, but
It's a phenomenal price.
Yeah.
Do they still have that going down? Maybe I go to my first strip club and I go there for the burger.
Let's do the show from there.
Yes. That'd be a great idea. Matt becomes a man live on the air.
There might not be a video component to that particular show, but
Yeah. We get to see the type of services that Orlando refused to pay for live on YouTube. I bet the director of video would be a big fan of that. We are a big fan of open practices. We are a big fan of people seeing very minimal practice time and making all of the assumptions and guesses as to how that will translate into next season. We will do that next here on 1620.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Jerry McNamara led Siena to the MAC tournament title. They'll be dancing Siena in the NCAA tournament. Currently, according to Bracket Matrix, Siena is projected to be a 15 seed, the last 15 seed. Only 9 brackets had Siena winning it all in the MAC. So good for Siena. Congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to Jerry McNamara, who's probably going to end up being the next Syracuse head coach. McNamara, long-time assistant under Jim Boeheim over in Syracuse. Adrian Autry fired today. Syracuse hasn't been to the NCAA tournament in 2000, like 2019. It's been a long time. They went 48-47 under Adrian Autry at Syracuse. McNamara, as of this point right now, McNamara as of this point right now, probably the favorite to end up being the next Syracuse head basketball coach. Also, another coach got fired. Mark Schmidt of St. Bonaventure, no longer the head coach. Do you know who the general manager of St. Bonaventure is?
Oh, that would be Woj.
Oh, yes, Adrian Wojnarowski. Apparently, there are rumors going on that like he's kind of, operating behind the shadows, trying to get his people in, doing what's best for Woj. Nobody in media would ever have their own stories about that stuff happening, right? Nobody has stories like that from their experiences in the medium with Woj.
Nobody would speak ill of Woj.
Ever. Nobody has any I didn't really appreciate what that guy did to me or what he did to other people that I know. So that's really funny. I never would expect that from Woj, if that's actually happening with Mark Schmidt no longer being the head coach over at St. Bonaventure. Adrian Autry out at Syracuse. Last time Syracuse made the NCAA tournament, 2021. They have not made the tournament in 5 years. We had that great crossover topic of what were powers that you never thought would stop being powers. Obviously, a very big one would be Nebraska football. Not a lot of people thought that Nebraska football would stop being a power in college football at some point in their lives. Syracuse, though, definitely would have been on that list. From from 1983 all the way to 2014, Syracuse had missed the tournament a total of 5 times. In 30 years, they had missed the NCAA tournament 5 times. Since 2014, so that's 12 seasons worth, they have missed the tournament 8 times. They've missed the tournament almost twice as many times in a 12-year span as they did in a 30-year span. Quite incredible stuff. Adrian Autry out. We will see who comes in. But like I said, a longtime assistant of Syracuse basketball, Jerry McNamara, has Siena dancing in the NCAA tournament. And also, by the way, too, Jerry McNamara, won a national championship as a player with Syracuse back in 2003. So we will see what happens next. But bye-bye, Adrian Autry. Hello to open practices. Hello to typing. Hello to making observations of practice periods and warm-ups and coaches yelling at dudes and guys hitting sleds and quarterbacks throwing on air and cornerbacks getting ridden about just because they're 6'2". Hello to those guys. We missed you. We missed you dearly. And all of the articles that I've read, I've found 3 looks the parts. 3. One in Husker Online, one in the Omaha World-Herald, and God dang it, Tim Verghese.
Now, he had to have thrown that in just for you.
You know what, but he used it on his guy because as we know, Timmy V loves Quasi Gilmer. He has marked that. Him and Merrick, Steve Merrick, also of Inside Nebraska, also of Rivals, also Rivals/On3. They both are Quasi guys. They're a part of they're Gilmer's girls, if you will.
All right, that's pretty good.
Come on. Can we? Yeah, you turn it on. You know when I'm about to. I'm proud of that one. They're Gilmer's girls. Gilmer's men, probably. I don't need to.
Gilmer's guys.
Gilmer's guys. But I mean, but the Gilmore girl,
Sure,
but
sure.
we're not
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to anyway. Tim Verghese goes, laying eyes on the junior who led the Bruins with 50 catches for 535 yards and 4 touchdowns last fall. He looks the part of the plug-and-play starter. 6'2", 190 pounds. He's crisp route runner with remarkable suddenness in and out of breaks for his size, is what Tim Verghese wrote of Mr. Quasi Gilmore after yesterday's open practice. We go to the Omaha World-Herald. This is writing about the running back room. Yes, the everyone's got their eyes and ears pinned to the running back room, talking about drills that they were doing in terms of E.J. Barthel training his young running backs. One young running back who's standing out, according to multiple people, was Mr. Jamal Rule. Written in the Omaha World-Herald, 3-level reads done at full speed. The Husker backs are used to it, but Barthel was impressed by a rep from freshman Jamal Rule. Good run, Barthel said. Rule looks the part. We go ahead to Husker Online, because we have to keep track. We have to keep track here of who's looking the part. I think this was here it is. Also about the running back room. It was evident who the top tailbacks were as of Tuesday. Mekhi Nelson went first in each drill, followed by Isaiah Mosey and Quentin Ives. Nelson looks the part. He hits the hole with authority and seems like the early front runner to claim the starting job. Mosey looks like a true Big Ten back. The former receiver hits the A-gap with low pad level. Paired with his pass catching out of the backfield, he should contribute early and often. I will say that if you're looking for Kool-Aid, the Husker Online article is the one for you. Can I read you this one about these are just claims.
Please do.
This is just claims we are making. And look, I understand this is a part of the game. All right. I've been around, I've been a viewer and been, somebody who's in this industry long enough to understand this is how, it's all about interaction. It's all about clicks. Okay. Why is going on with my computer? This is a hell of a time for my computer to glitch here. I understand how this works. And they were talking about Williams-Winery. And in this article, if I can find it, if the stupid computer would please just cooperate 2 seconds.
Gotta want it.
Where is I gotta find. Okay, basically, this On3 article called Winery. They predicted how many stats he would, like what his stats would be. Okay. God dang it, where is it? Anyway, they said that he would have 7 sacks this season. Quite the. Okay, here it is. Okay. And by the way, you guess to me who wrote this sentence. All right. You know the Husker Online stuff. Okay, comma. Here's an obligatory observation regarding Winery. This is Steve Sipple. Okay. I know a Sipple line when I read it.
Would have been my guess.
The 6'7", 265-pounder remains a first off the bus guy. He's further tuned up an already impressive frame. He just looks like a guy who should get a minimum of 7 sacks. We'll see. That's just a very hyperbolic way of saying, do you know what he looks like? He looks the part, man. Looks the part. So that's kind of your update on what happened yesterday and practice, if you will, open practice, the 25 minutes people were able to see. One guy that actually, this is a name, so I'm being serious now. I'm no longer making jokes. Here's one. A name that I haven't heard a lot of. Now, look, it's a crowded room. The wide receiver room this year. But one observation made, and this from the Omaha World-Herald, receiver Quasi Gilmer is trimmed and cut in a way that sets him apart from the other wideouts. But freshman Nolan Scott looks like that too. If he sheds his injury history, look out. There was also an earlier observation about Nolan Scott potentially being a guy that can emerge the freshman wide receiver. Look, there's already 3 guys in that room that makes it pretty crowded. Gilmer, Isaiah Hunter, and Ja'Cory Barty. We have to assume at this point that those guys are going to get a majority of the targets, majority of the routes, going to be on the field a ton. But you got guys like Quinn Clark, you got guys like Cortez Mills, and you got guys like Keelan Smith, all that we've heard of. But there have been some people who've made some observations of Nolan Scott who really believe that he can be a guy that maybe can work his way up the depth chart this spring and into the summer and maybe earn himself a couple of snaps. So that interests me. Ask around a little bit as to, hey, is this something that was this the Omaha World-Herald just seeing a guy and being like, oh, big tall man. Big tall man looks big tall. I'm going to write about him. Or is this something that actually is trending? It seems like, he's making some impacts pretty early in spring football. I like it when we can get the kind of, under the surface, if you will, observations here. But a lot of the observations being made after this open practice part, kind of standard. Now, here's one. This comes from Tim Verghese, something I read earlier this morning. And this is something that my former co-host Gary Sharp was very adamant upon and definitely paired my eyes onto this and definitely has me keeping up with this player, this freshman, by far the best freshman they got in this recruiting class in 2026. I want to read this excerpt from Tim Verghese about Danny Odom, the freshman cornerback from Florida. Standing 6'2", 180 pounds helps, but watching him work through drills, he's a technician and looks smoother than most working in and out of breaks, paired with his ball skills and physicality in live action. It shouldn't be surprising if the freshman seriously challenges for the starting cornerback job opposite Marshall. This was something that people had their eyes on, that people within the know thought that could develop, especially with the fact that there were a lot of teams, a lot of big-time colleges that were in on Danny Odom trying to get his services to places like Oklahoma and Ohio State. Nebraska was able to hold on and secure the services of the 4-star freshman. So Odom already looking the part, if you will, and definitely something in terms of this is Danny Odom potentially playing as a true freshman and starting the opposite corner of Andrew Marshall is something that people early on in his recruitment, watching his tape and following Nebraska scout him, thought could happen. Interesting that through basically we're almost halfway through spring, the belief is still there that is definitely something that he can still accomplish. So Michael Severe also had a bunch of tweets. By the way, Michael Severe's favorite quarterback in the NFL draft is Fernando Mendoza, but don't let him know that because he thinks his name is Francisco, and I'm never going to correct him on that. It's kind of like when a guy at a gym kept calling me Big Mike, and I never had the gall to just be like, no, my name's Matt. You're nice enough to me. I really don't care. I want to read this from Michael Severe because we are a measurement show. Okay? We are all about the measurements. We're all about the height. We're all about the length. We love what we're hearing about Claude and Puma. Now, we do have some conflicting reports, by the way. Tim wrote that Claude and Puma is easily over 300 pounds right now, where Husker Online did say that he's currently listed as 270. We're going to have to figure that out, boys. Where is he at? Is he at 270? Is he at 305? Love for him to be at 305 already. By the way, Claude and Puma, 6'8", have a 7-foot wingspan. Thank you very much. Michael Severe writes, the O-line is huge. Pritchett looks like he's in even better shape, and his leg drive is so much better with the new coaching. And Puma is ridiculously tall. I think overall you could see the difference in the coaching from Wade and Teasley. Didn't get to see as much of Tree. He's talking about Tree Babalade the guy that a lot of people think that could line up at the other tackle spot heading in to next season. Let's talk about real quick the first clip of the offensive line, something that has been talked about heavily throughout this offseason from the coaches. From Husker Online, as of today, Mubenga, Justin Evans, Elijah Pritchett, Brendan Black, and Tree Babalade appear to be the top 5 on the offensive line. Gunnar Gatula, and here's a name that I've been clamoring to hear because he's been in the program now a couple of years. And this is a name that we could see maybe emerge throughout the rest of the spring and maybe into the fall and compete for a starting job. But Sam Sledge would likely be the next 2 after that. So I think this is the big problem that we had with Donovan Raiola as the offensive line coach at Nebraska. It wasn't necessarily fully about the performance on the field that I was upset about when it came to Donnie and the job that he did, because Nebraska, from like a rush blocking perspective, PFF graded pretty well. And I think just using your eyes, I mean, there were moments where you had guys like Latovsky, Evans, and Rocco Spindler just mauling guys over and making some great gaps for Emma Johnson to kind of run between the tackles and maybe even get behind a guard. It wasn't necessarily, I didn't have a problem with Donnie from like what was going on the field from a run blocking perspective. And sometimes I definitely don't think he was helped out by what the quarterback was doing from a pass blocking perspective. But what irked me about the offensive line is that they had all of these guys that were really young that had been in the program for a while that weren't emerging as guys who could be starters. Machachek, Sam Sledge, Grant Bricks, another one off the top of my head, right? Preston Talmoa. Like, these are dudes that when you recruited them, you were hoping, okay, we can develop them. They've been in the program for a while. They can emerge, and eventually you can have a homegrown offensive line, and you can build that pipeline of like, okay, we're not going out and spending this money in the transfer portal and putting duct tape on a boat and saying it can float, right? We're going ahead. We're developing our own guys. That didn't happen, okay? And so that needs to happen, in my opinion, for overall program health. And once again, they had to go in the offseason and get a transfer in Mubenga, a transfer in Brendan Black, a transfer in Tree Babalade, right? Elijah Pritchett now very much is a Husker, but you had to go and get him from Alabama. 4 of your 5 guys in the offensive line are going to be guys that you got in the transfer portal. I'm loving that I'm hearing homegrown dudes, and Gunnar Gatula and Sam Sledge are developing and potentially getting to the point where they can challenge for starting jobs. And we all know injuries happen. You got to have that depth behind that first wave of offensive line, because we've seen this all the time in college football. It's really hard to recover from tackle injuries and guard injuries, and we see it at the top level. Let's develop homegrown guys. Let's develop that depth. I love that. We're hearing that from Michael. We're hearing that from Husker Online. And God, Claude Puma, 6'8", 7-foot wingspan. Gimme. Give me big men. I want all the big men. Now, the defensive line, not necessarily that big, right? 6 foot, 260 pounds of Sheer Whittington. And then they got a 6'1", 290 guy in Damon Stoudemire. Those are both transfers. Stoudemire from Boston College, Whittington from Pitt. While they don't have that size, apparently they're looking pretty fast, is what the practice reports are telling us. So there is your update. That's all you need to know. That, and Anthony Calandria has a bunch of handshakes with guys, and he's got great quote-unquote presence. He's got a swagger that was missing from the team, apparently. Hopefully that swagger can lead to less turnovers. Maybe that presence can just encourage him not to force the ball down the middle of the field and maybe drop a check down or 2. That's what we're hoping. What we're also hoping to is that we stop looking at the NBA with rolled eyes, because I'm getting annoyed by it. I don't like it when good things happen in basketball and immediately go, oh, the NBA. And that kind of happened yesterday in something that it was a little disappointing what the reaction was to a historic night in the National Basketball Association. We talk about that next here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Yes.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Dang it. I haven't done that in a while. Getting used to rejoins on my own show. Hey, don't forget, who serves up the best bite in town? It's gotten settled in the Omaha food fight. We're calling on you to nominate your favorite spot because the restaurants with the most nominations will battle it out in the official Omaha food fight bracket presented by Union Bank and Trust. Nominate your favorite restaurant before Thursday night for a chance to see them in the bracket. Then the bracket voting opens on Sunday, March 15th. Visit 1620thezone.com and nominate and let us know which local restaurants deserve a shot at the culinary crown. Let's give some updates around here across college basketball. Maryland currently trailing Iowa in the second half. 6:29 left to go in that game. The Hawkeyes currently leading the Terrapins 59-47. Iowa's leading scorer is the guy who hit a lot, actually had a lot of really good shots, Cooper Koch for Iowa. The not-so-great college basketball player, according to the opinions of others, Bennett Sturtz. Not my opinion, by the way. I think he's great, but apparently to some people he's not. 13.6 rebounds and 8 assists for the very average, middling Bennett Sturtz of Iowa. Arizona State. Wow. Turned into Owen Wilson there for a second. Wow.
Yeah, that's something. You looked at that score, didn't you?
So the Iowa State Cyclones, which I can't quit them either. Like Connor Happer and I are like, we just can't. I can't let them go, man. I believe in Iowa State. I believe in DJ Altenberger. I believe in Taman Lipsy. I believe in that team. But they just didn't have the best end to the season, especially against a team. Like, they should have beat Texas Tech without JT Toppin. How do you not beat BYU without Richie Saunders? And then they just got absolutely walloped by Arizona to end the season. Granted, that game was on the road. Currently leading after 20 minutes, the Arizona State Sun Devils, who fired their coach, Bobby Hurley, they're leading them 45-16. Arizona State scored 16 points in the first half. Jeez. By the way, what I called one of the more relevant Power 5 teams in college basketball, Louisiana State University, only trailing Kentucky by 1 point right now. Kentucky is 19-12. They're currently marked to be a 7 seed. When was the last time that they might end up having 13 losses. They might be a 7 seed without 20 wins in the NCAA tournament. I don't know, man. I think their brand definitely helping them there, if you will. Currently only leading by 1 point. Mark Pope, things might get a little weird in Lexington if they end up getting knocked out in the first round of the SEC tournament. And if they get knocked out in the first round of the NCAA tournament, might get a little weird. We will see what happens. Maybe not. Let's see. Arizona State trailing 16-45. Kentucky leading 46-45. We've had this great game on. Pitt currently trailing. That would be a bit skewer, by the way, if Pitt ended up winning the ACC tournament by far. They were leading this game early to start, but NC State had a good end to the first half, and now they've had a phenomenal beginning to the second half. 11:33 left to go in this game. 11-point lead for the NC State Wolfpack. Another team that is very firmly in the bubble conversation. A 10 seed for NC State currently. Only ahead of Missouri and only about 4 or 5 spots away from being out of the NCAA tournament. If they were to lose to Pitt, that would be catastrophic for them, maybe drop into an 11 seed, but currently they are up 11 points in the second half against Pitt. The next game that's important to tip off will probably be at around 2 o'clock. 1:30, USC versus Washington on Peacock, and then Mississippi State versus Auburn at 2 o'clock on the SEC Network. Auburn currently right now, according to Bracket Matrix, out of the NCAA tournament, currently in the other at-large territory. Yesterday, history happened. Bam Adebayo scored 83 points against the Washington Wizards. He had 43 free throw attempts in that game. The Miami Heat were intentionally fouling at the end of the game to get the ball back, to give Bam the ball so he could break the record. Look, I don't want to have like a flaming hot take about this, and I really don't want to have like a super strong opinion on it,
because I don't want to be that guy. I think it's very easy. I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit right now to just be the NBA sucks and everything they're doing is terrible. And Adam Silver's the worst commissioner, which I don't. I think Bettman's pretty bad, and I think Manfred is kind of polarizing. Like, I actually think that a lot of what Manfred has done has been really good for the game of baseball. Like, it's growing. I mean,
I just think that this on its own sucks?
What do you mean?
That Bam Adebayo dropped 80, manufactured 83 points for himself last night.
I don't want to overreact because, like I said, it's low-hanging fruit to just pile on the NBA. And if you want a bunch of people behind you to be like, yeah, you're totally right, you're going to go ahead and you're going to crap on the NBA.
It's not a referendum on the sport or
no,
the league.
It isn't. It isn't. You're totally right.
This was stupid.
So, and look, Sith is totally right. Sith, it's a great comment by Sith because Sith, I agree with you. I've said this before. Sith writes in the YouTube chat, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit because it's true, Matt. You're right. It is true. This does suck. I mean, it is kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, let's break this down. It's really bad for the league that Bam Adebayo scores 83 points in a game, which is ridiculous, which is insane. It's crazy to score 83 points in one basketball game. There's a reason why it doesn't happen. It happens almost basically never. The fact, though, that happened and immediately the dialogue is negative just is very indicative of where the discourse of the league is. And it's in a really bad spot. The fact that a historic thing like this can happen and immediately the reaction from not only just fans, but media members saying this sucks and this is chopped. And the league has fallen so far, from where it once was. The fact that that's the first immediate reaction to this whole thing just shows you how bad of a situation the NBA is in terms of how we view them from a sport perspective, from a viewer perspective, how we look at the league. I mean, good for Bam. An incredible accomplishment. It's one of those things where it's like, holy crap, I cannot, like when you saw it, I cannot believe it happened. But the fact that immediately our initial reaction was like, ugh, which a lot of people's reaction to it was, just shows you where the league is at. And it's not in a good spot.
Because the Heat were fouling the Wizards to extend the game, to get Bam more free throws. The Wizards were fouling non-Bam Adebayo players, and those non-Bam Adebayo players were intentionally missing free throws so that Bam could get more attempts.
It's also one of those things, too, where it's like it is the kind of epitome of where a lot of people view the game right now that Bam Adebayo had he made 36 free throw attempts. And
that's right.
He made 36 free throw attempts against a team that actively is not trying to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is kind of two of the bigger problems, right, that people think the NBA has, which is you have too many guys who are hunting free throws and the game isn't entertaining and the quality of the sport isn't where it should be. And then secondly, he did it against a team that is actively trying to lose, which goes against the complete integrity of the game. The fact that Bam Adebayo did something that is so insane and that very few people will probably ever, I never thought I would see anybody score more than 81 games or 81 points in a game. I never thought I'd see it.
He's got to go out there and do it.
Yeah. So kudos. And I'm not trying to hold it against Bam. I don't know what Bam was supposed to do other than score as many points as humanly possible. He did that. Here's the other thing. So that's my one observation. My one observation is that, it's not great for the league that immediately we're like, ugh, this sucks. Because that's what a lot of people thought. The other observation was like the fact that this was going on. It seemed like nobody had any idea. Like we were just like so tuned in on Maxx Crosby and so tuned into the NFL and so tuned into the WBC. And Bam Adebayo was on his way to score 83 points. The fact that we got like, no, oh my God, Bam's at 60 or Bam's at 70 or this is like the fact
I saw he was at 31 at the end of the first quarter, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's a lot. Now I never thought to myself, oh, maybe he'll get 80.
Well, the thing was, too, is that, like, I got more text about when Philip Humber had a perfect game than Bam Adebayo, like, ending up scoring 83 points. Like, nobody, it just seemed like that would be an event where, like, once he gets to 60 or once he's, like, trending toward getting it, you'd be like, call your daughters, call your wives, call your friends, call your family. Like, get in here, watch Bam Adebayo score. Like, that's one of those things too. When Kobe scored 81 against the Toronto Raptors, that's something that, like, let me be real with you, I don't have any recollection of it because I was 4 years old when that happened, right? Kobe's 81-point game is very much like I had to be taught about it, and I had to, like, watch the highlights of it, and I have to see him go off. But you get stories about that game, a historic 81-point game, because people are like, I remember. Where were you, Josh Hodson, when it happened?
I believe I was in my apartment.
And were you watching the game?
I am looking it up. I believe NBA TV cut in and was like, hey, this really cool thing is happening.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like a nationally televised game at the time.
But the point is this: when Kobe scored 81 points, it was a "where were you in sport" moment.
Yeah. It was, hey, you got to watch and see how many he gets.
Bam scored 2 more than that, and really nobody gave a damn. Nobody was like, I'll tell you where I was, because I went to my Snapchat group chat and they're like, holy crap, Bam got 83. That's what happened. So the fact that, like, this historic thing happened and we immediately go, ugh, is a awful indication for the league and currently where they stand in terms of standing amongst their viewership. And then secondly, the fact that some random ass White Sox pitcher got more text about when he threw a perfect game as opposed to Bam Adebayo, in my experience, scoring 83 points, just shows you where the league is at. Just I think too many people can't be bothered when it comes to the NBA, and too many people have a negative connotation when it comes to the NBA. And it is of my opinion that it's the commissioner's job, along with their marketing department, to do a better job to make us look more fondly upon the league. But definitely the league has become, I don't want to go as far as to say a laughing stock among sports fans, but it doesn't get taken too seriously enough for how much money and how much care should be pumped into it. It does not. For how much money these players make and for how expensive their TV deal is, which I give a ton of credit to Adam Silver for somehow getting all of these television networks to pay ungodly amounts of money to air their product. I got to give kudos to him there. And you got to give kudos to him for all the money that these players continue to make. I mean, the salary cap continues to go up and up and up, other than the second apron, which I still don't understand why the Players Association agreed to that. So dumb. But Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points in a basketball game should be a massive moment in sports. It should be a massive moment in the league. It should be a where were you moment. We should be celebrating Bam, and we should be celebrating Miami, and we should be celebrating the NBA because it happened. And yet we're not. We are not. Because everything else that has come before and led to this point of Bam scoring 83. And there's more of a emotion of like, ugh, I can't believe he beat Kobe. Out of anybody, he's the one who beat Kobe's record. If you ask a lot of NBA fans, hey, would you go back in time and have Kobe make one more three-pointer so he could have 84 and Bam could have 83? Every single one of them would say yes. Yes.
That's absolutely part of this. Absolutely. Is the level of Bam and the level of Kobe. Like,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
And Kobe is not only one of the greatest players of all time, even before his tragic passing, which, by the way, I can't believe that was like 6 years ago. Jeez. Like, even before his tragic passing, was one of the most beloved basketball players ever. And honestly, his legend has grown even after that, because of just how much people miss him. I miss him too. He was a legend, and it's one of those things where it's like it's crazy. Bam Adebayo scores 83 points, and people go, "Dang it!" People go, "Damn it! Why did he beat Kobe?" All right, I have a complaint about the Big 12. I love that conference. I'm a Big 12 honk. But they did a dumb thing, and they shouldn't do it again. And they tried to reinvent the wheel, and sometimes the wheel isn't meant to be reinvented. And at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a wacky guest. Great hour left of the show. Don't forget, at 1:30, we're going to be giving away some Hardy tickets for you to go and see. So don't go anywhere. Middays with Matt coming up after this break.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Michael Severe has tweeted in.
Oh, good.
I love Michael. He's one of my favorite humans probably I've ever met, and still I will only ever be an acquaintance to him. But the reason why I like Michael is that we will have like a take together, or we'll have a conversation together from multiple days ago, and then he won't let it up. He'll just keep thinking about it, and then he'll find things and send it to me. He just sent me a mock draft. God, if you want a key to my heart, send me a mock draft. All right. I don't think anybody listening out there ever wants to date me, but if you do, if you want to like butter me up a little bit, just send me a good mock. That'll get me going. Also, too, what gets me going is basketball. Currently, right now, NC State up 88-81. Pitt making a bit of a comeback to continue their Cinderella story in the ACC tournament. They're playing their game on a wooden basketball court. Like basketball games should be played, and not on a LED fiberglass. I mean, the Big 12 tournament is being played essentially on a flat screen TV right now. Okay. And Kansas State forward Taj Manning said this about the LED floor. It's pretty bad, to be honest. It's slippery. The lights and stuff caused Kamari McGriff to get a migraine. It's a bad floor. They shouldn't bring it back. Nobody wants to play on that thing. Just want the normal hardwood. When this first happened, I love the idea of being creative. I love the idea of all the different, things that you could do with it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. But all they do is like have this black court that really isn't that aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have a half court line. Guys are slipping and falling.
But they updated it to have a half court line.
Okay, yeah, great. Maybe you should have thought of that before.
I would agree.
We are just destined for some college dorm room kid to hack that floor and put that one, picture of that dude every time you pick on a San Francisco Chronicles article. If you know, you know. Okay, so listen, just go to hardwood. Right, there are really cool things you can do at the Big 12 tournament. Literally playing on a flat screen TV isn't one of them. All right. I like reinventing the wheel. I like being creative. It's basketball. All right.
I thought if the floor was good, then this is a good idea.
It's giving guys migraines.
Well,
I guess they have to have Excedrin on the bench for the Big 12 tournament.
Percy Harvin on line 1.
Scottie Pippen on line 2.
Ooh.
Like that one. The yin and the yang. Will Scottie Pippen be our wacky guest today at 1 o'clock? That would be a good get. That would be an awesome get. His former wife, his ex-wife, is from my hometown, Skokie, Illinois.
Skokie.
Shout out Larsa. Not really. Never met her. Anyway, we'll find out who the wacky guest is coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, it's a Wednesday at 1 o'clock. That means our benchmark segment of Middays with Matt, Wacky Guest Wednesday, is up next. Josh Odson, who do we have on today?
This week's mystery wacky guest, I believe he's in Arizona right now.
Okay.
He is the title TV and radio play-by-play, one of the many voices of the Kansas City Royals. It's Jake Eisenberg, friend of the station, friend of all.
Jake, how are you?
Hey guys, I'm great. We just heard some fighter jets overhead. This is the safest spring training complex in Arizona because of the Air Force Base close by. I've never been described as mysterious or wacky, but I'm happy to be both.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Absolutely. First off, I do want to say congratulations. You are one of the, I believe you are the youngest play-by-play announcer of a MLB team in the league. So congratulations to your early career success and everything you're doing with the Royals. I do want to let you know, I didn't know who you fully were until about 2 years ago when I became a roommate to a Kansas City Royals fan, and now Jake Eisenberg often fills my room basically with your announcing of the Kansas City Royals. So congratulations for being a part of my almost probably 2 or 3 times a week from the spring to the summer of my life. Congratulations to you.
Well, I'll say thank you, and also I'm sorry, depending upon where I may find you over the course of your day. As far as the age thing, I am a little bit older now than I was when I first started. That was true when I first started, but I think I've been supplanted by a couple of rising talented youngsters, if I can say that as a 31-year-old. But no, it is fun to be, here with the Royals, and now year 4 with the Royals after a couple of years in Omaha, and really looking forward to this season.
See, Jake, you being a play-by-play announcer and announcing now, would you say you do about 155 games in a season, roughly? You probably get a week or 2 off or something like that?
Nope, I'll do 162.
Wow.
Where they go, I go.
Okay, all right. So 162 games. Well, that's crazy to me. That's absolutely insane to me. That's something I could never accomplish. But I want to know what your off season is like, because I imagine that when you get to the end of the year, 162 games on your belt, you're probably ready for a break. You're probably ready to kind of slow down and have an off season. When do you get the itch again? When do you start thinking man, I want to get back in the booth. I want to get back to announcing my guys.
I mean, look, the goal is that you have the shortest off season possible, right?
Yeah,
the goal is that you play deep in October and in November. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for the Royals last year. And if there is a silver lining to all that, is that for that entire month, I get to be the most hardcore baseball fan and watch every single minute of every single game. Like that wild card day where you get 4 games in one day is like my favorite day of the year, other than being involved in it, which would be a whole lot better. Once the World Series ends, that month of November, it's a good time to decompress a little bit, get my feet back under me, rearrange the closet from all my Royals stuff that I wear during the season to stuff that I wear during the winter time when it's a little bit colder in Kansas City. Obviously holidays, spending time with family, getting to do a little bit of travel here and there, spending quality time with my wife. Also doing a little bit of basketball here and there for Fox this past off season, and a little bit in Omaha with Creighton and their production there, which they do a phenomenal job with. So the off season for me is a really nice balance between quality time with, people that I don't get as much quality time with during the baseball season, a little bit of travel that I don't get to do during the baseball season, some basketball, because it's obviously basketball season, hopefully a little bit of volleyball mixed in there. And then I start to get the itch to get down to Arizona probably right around November 3rd. If I'm being totally
all
honest.
right. Well, I love the specificity. That's great.
It does come pretty quick as soon as the World Series ends. Definitely, kidding aside, it's definitely about mid-January. Is when it's kind of like, okay, it's go time.
Yeah. You know what? This is going to be such an interesting season, just because from the point of perspective of the LA Dodgers, and that's going to be a big narrative in the storyline of how much money they've spent. And I feel like we're going to spend a lot of time this season talking about, okay, who are the teams that could compete against them? But then you also have kind of the narrative of this looming collective bargaining agreement, right? And the looming lockout that could come in 2027. Have you thought about how it might be difficult for you to balance that at times in terms of enjoying the season, but also kind of worrying about maybe the looming dangers ahead of what a lockout could look like in 2027?
I mean, honestly and bluntly, no.
Love it.
It's not something that I control. It's not something that I am a part of. I am not a part of the Major League Baseball side of things. I'm not a part of the players side of things. I just get to enjoy the games that we watch and share them with everybody. And obviously, I'm hopeful that everybody can come to an agreement and that we don't have any missed games. I think that would certainly be bad for the sport, which is such a good spot right now. But I also know from previous negotiations that things that they decide and however they decide them, ultimately it's things that have pushed the sport forward and been for the betterment of the sport too. I was the broadcaster in Omaha in 2022 when we had, kind of a lockout and the previous CBA negotiations. And then ultimately now we have the pitch clock and other things and they'll discuss everything. But no, to be, I guess, more short with it, I don't think about it at all. I don't think there's a whole lot of value in me personally thinking about it because I'm just going to enjoy this season and then I'll enjoy next season in whatever form that comes in.
Have you been enjoying the WBC and what do you think yesterday of Italy's historic win over the USA?
Man. The WBC has been awesome. It was awesome a few years ago. It's awesome this time of year. I mean, to have that kind of level of intensity in March, I think just really sets the tone for the Major League Baseball season. I'll tell you what, like as amazing as the USA roster is, and don't get me wrong, it is probably one of the best collections of baseball talent. Italy's collection of talent is pretty good too.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important reminder that baseball is one of those games where anybody can beat anybody else on any given day. It is a sport that has a good deal of randomness to it. And so that's why I pause when everyone's like, oh, well, no one can beat the Dodgers. Like, well, yes, the Dodgers have won back-to-back World Series and they certainly earned those World Series and have an incredible infrastructure to build incredible rosters and win those World Series. But it is far from a foregone conclusion that they're going to win a third in a row. And I mean, lest we forget, as impenetrable as the Dodgers seemed, they came to Kauffman Stadium last year and the Royals did win one of those 3 games. There's a reason why you play 162. There's a reason why you play the games. Because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I think I know why when I was talking about Team Italy and referring to the Kansas City Royals, why Josh Odson, my producer, who booked you to be here on Wacky Guest Wednesday, was smiling because he knew I'd be talking to you. Is there a part of you that was kind of secretly rooting for Italy yesterday because you had Vinny and because you had Cags playing some great baseball yesterday? I mean, Cags obviously with the homer, and then, man, Vinny, that jersey, by the way, the C on the Italy jersey for Vinny and the defensive plays that he made at first base. Is there part of you, Mr. Jake Eisenberg, that was like, I wouldn't mind if these Royals upset the Team USA?
No. I mean,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I think I'm safe. I don't think Vinny or Cags are listening. I mean, look, the truth is, like, there are Royals on so many World Baseball Classic teams.
Absolutely.
And I want them all to have great experiences and play really well. And I hope that all of their teams ultimately lose to the United States. But like the best case scenario yesterday would have been Vinny and Cags each hitting 3 home runs and then the United States winning, 12-10 or something like that. There's a bunch of former Royals all over the place in the World Baseball Classic too. Michael Lorenzen pitched for Team Italy against the United States to start that game and pitched great. It was good to see him do that, even though he'll be with the Rockies this year. He's been with the Royals the last season and a half now. I'll say this here. I'll give you what I think is a not so bold prediction.
Okay.
But I think from the outside looking in, people might think it's a bold prediction, and it's about Vinny Pasquantino. First off, so cool that he's got the C on his chest.
So
Capitana for Italy. That's so cool. Here's my not so bold prediction. Vinny Pasquantino is going to win a Gold Glove this season.
Yeah. Jake, those 2 plays he made at first yesterday, one they had to review, the second one they didn't review, where he stretched out. He made those plays, man. I mean, and I know to maybe some people looked a little routine, but he really got out there and it was impressive stuff. I mean, if he doesn't make those plays, the game definitely is a little different yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen that in Kansas City now the last few years. We saw it in Omaha when Vinny was there in 2022. He's got that kind of flexibility, and it is very underrated how important a good first baseman is in elevating your infield defense. And I know that the defensive metrics haven't necessarily loved Vinny Pasquantino defensively the last couple of years. I think defensive metrics are wonky, and they are especially wonky for first baseman. But I think eye test and thinking about the rest of the league and what his, quote unquote competition is, I think that I think he's winning the Gold Glove this year. There it is.
Wow, I love it.
You're the first people I've said that to. I've been thinking about this for about a week.
Hell yeah.
I've been thinking about this for about a week now, but this is the first time I've said it in any sort of public forum. So there you go. Well, you got a mini scoop there.
We'll go ahead. We'll put that on breaking news, Josh. Go ahead and tweet that out on Middays with Matt. We're gonna break that. Jake, I love what you say though about the first base position, because I'm admittingly a Chicago Cubs fan. I'm actually, funny enough, wearing my Chicago Cubs World Series champions hat today. And you're right. Like a lot of the defensive metrics don't necessarily point to the importance of having a good defensive first baseman, but the Cubs won in 2016 because of their great defense, and obviously the middle of the infield with Baez and Addison Russell were great. But Anthony Rizzo was one of the best first basemen in terms of defense that season, and the plays that he made at first base anchored that defense, in my opinion. So I think that's spot on. It's one of those positions where we don't necessarily get enamored with the defensive numbers, but also from an emotional standpoint. Like I think Vinny, outside looking in, is a great emotional leader. And you're right, being the Capitana of Team Italy is super cool. Let's talk about the Royals. I held off a little bit because I wanted to get some of your thoughts on other things happening in baseball, but let's talk about your team. Give me an underrated storyline. Give me something that to begin the season that maybe has gone a little bit under the radar that you're really having your eyes on, that you want to see maybe in April and May.
That's a really good question. I think I'll kind of reverse it a little bit. I think what's interesting about the Royals this year is that none of the storylines are super underrated, because the core is so intact, and from what it was last year and the year before when the Royals reached the playoffs. They added Lane Thomas, which I think is going to be a sneaky good addition. I think maybe there's an underrated storyline, is how impactful Lane Thomas can be as a right-handed hitting outfielder coming off an injury, but a guy who's got 20/20 potential in his game, if he stays healthy. I think the bullpen is a little bit underrated. I mean, you got the guy who led the big leagues in saves last year in Estevez, and then you add Matt Strahm to the mix with Lucas Erceg and John Schreiber. Nick Mears comes in. Daniel Lynch was quietly really good last season too. Steven Cruz has some high octane stuff. We're still waiting to see how the bullpen shakes out, but I think the bullpen could be sneaky good as it was last year. I mean, the Royals pitching staff overall last year was really good. I think the obvious storylines are there. You have your offensive core: Bobby, Salvi, Vinny, Michael. What do Carter and Cags do? Does Carter Jensen continue what he did in September? He's a Rookie of the Year candidate. There's no question about it. Does Jack Caglione take that big step forward that we're all hoping for? If last night was any indication, hanging, a sweeper and taking it out to right field like that, if we see more of that, I asked Matt Quatraro this morning, what does that kind of say about his growth? And he basically said, this is kind of what we were hoping, that in these big situations, in this kind of environment, this early on, that's one of those things that builds your confidence. So if he can continue to do that, this lineup all of a sudden becomes even deeper than we thought it would be. So I don't know if there's a lot that's underrated. I will say maybe nationally, I don't think people realize how good Michael Garcia was last year.
I couldn't agree more.
He was a top 15 player in the sport.
He was
a top 15 player in the sport.
He was.
He's a top 15 all-around player in the sport. There's a reason he's got a 5-year extension. He was a Gold Glover. He was a Silver Slugger finalist. He was incredible last year, and there's every indication that he's going to be able to do it again. And when you have that, and you pair that next to Bobby at shortstop, you've got the best left side of the infield in baseball, and I don't think it's particularly close.
I'll go ahead. I'll ask you two more questions before we let you go here. We thank you so much for your time, Jake Eisenberg, the radio play-by-play voice of the Kansas City Royals, joining us here on Middays with Matt. I have one question for me, and then my roommate, who's a diehard Royals fan, wants me to ask you a question because he just found out I'm interviewing you. So my question is from me. It's crazy. We talk about Bobby Witt Jr., obviously, the superstar. I'm gonna place a future on him, Jake, to win the MVP plus 550. To do that, he had a quote unquote down year, but still hit.
Ridiculous.
I know, right? He. I mean, it's great. I mean, he did, for his standard, have a down year, but he hit 295. His OPS plus was 136. His WAR was 7.1 in a down year. It's crazy that we hold him that standard, but that's just how great of a player he is. Have you seen him go through things a little differently this offseason? Is there anything that he's approached differently, because his numbers in terms of home runs went down and the average went down and slugging and OPS was a little down, but he still was a stud. Has there been any little tweaks or anything different with Bobby, or is it kind of just business as usual?
I mean, I think it's business as usual. I'll say that, we only overlapped here for about a week and a half before he left to go participate in the World Baseball Classic. I did talk to him briefly, and we talked about the whole quote-unquote down year thing. And I'll say, he did say that, yeah, if you compare it to the year before when he literally had the greatest single season in franchise history and one of the greatest single seasons by a shortstop in modern baseball history, yeah, you want to compare it to that, then yes, technically speaking, it was not as good. But I think to call it a down year is farcical because he was, I think, the best all-around player in the sport. Aaron Judge is the best hitter. Shohei Ohtani is the most incredible talent hitting and pitching. Bobby Witt Jr. is the best all-around player in Major League Baseball, and he has been now each of the last 2 seasons. And there's every indication that he's going to do that again. I think if there's one big difference for Bobby this year, well, at Kauffman Stadium, the fences are a little bit shorter and they're a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a handful of those 47 doubles that led the majors last year turn into home runs. You might see, a few fewer triples than you saw last year because those balls are going to be going over the fence. I think that's obviously going to help Bobby and help a good amount of the Royals hitters too.
So, question and final question here from my roommate Dan, who has you on in our when I will come home from work, and he just has you on, and I'm like, all right, great, Jake Eisenberg, nice to hear from the guy. He goes, Dan asked
what's
you.
Up?
Dan says this.
Dan, what's up?
Ask him about the makeup of the outfield. Who will play where? How many games does Sal catch? Or Salvador? I guess. How many games does Sal catch? He's getting old. So how many games will Salvador Perez catch this year? And what's the makeup of the outfield? Comes from my roommate, Dan.
Okay, I'll start with the Salvi question because that has been a question since my first season here with the Royals in 2023. Salvi is an ageless wonder. He defies gravity and defies logic. And I've stopped wondering what he might do as it relates to his age because it's a foolish thing to do at this point. I think Salvi is just going to keep going the way he is because he prepares so hard. He works so hard. That's why he's able to continue to play at the level that he's played at. As far as the number of games, I think it'll be a very similar number to last year where he caught a little over 90 games last year. And then he was the DH for a little bit around 50 games. And then he played first for 20-ish games. You know, he wound up playing a little over 150 games last year. And I think between him and Carter Jensen, and you rotate through the DH spot, I think that it'll be a probably very similar split in terms of the number of games that he actually is the starting catcher and DH or first base, maybe giving Vinny a day here or there. I think it's going to be very similar. And I love the fact that the Royals extended Salvi for a couple of years and having him and Carter Jensen as a pair behind the plate. I mean, what an awesome thing to have, you know, your future Hall of Fame catcher, you know, basically starting to maybe pass the torch a little bit.
Yeah.
Salvi's not done by any stretch, but Carter Jensen is definitely the future when it comes to, you know, the Royals catching. I mean, and Salvi this year, he's 14 home runs shy of tying George Brett's franchise home run record. That is something that we are anticipating to see fall at some point this season. That's going to be an incredible moment. So super excited for Salvi's season this year. As far as the outfield, this is my expectation as it stands right now on March 11th. You're going to have Jack Caglione in right. You're going to have Kyle Isbell in center. You're going to have Isaac Collins in left for the most part. I think depending upon pitching matchups and how many days in a row, and if there's a lefty on the mound, righty on the mound, that sort of thing, I think you'll see Lane Thomas in there a good amount against left-handed starting pitching, whether that is spelling Kyle Isbell in center or giving Jack Caglione a day in right. That remains to be seen. Cags was actually better against left-handed pitching last year than he was against right-handed pitching. That's something to keep in mind, but I do think Lane Thomas is going to get a good amount of playing time. It's unfortunate right now Michael Massey is dealing with a low-grade calf strain, so he's not going to be in game action for probably a few more days now, but seems like he's going to be okay. But he's looked fantastic in the outfield in both corners. I think he could mix in out there a decent amount or at second base, you know, depending upon how Jonathan India is playing both defensively and offensively. And then I don't think we'll see much of Starling Marte in the outfield, but I do think you'll see him in the lineup against left-handed pitching. He's actually going to make his Royals debut this afternoon against the Giants. He's hitting third today. And so I think there's your main outfield mix. I think you've got Kyle Isbell, who was a Gold Glove finalist, and from my eyes is one of the best defensive center fielders I've been lucky enough to watch. He's out in center. Isaac Collins in left. He was +6 outs above average last year, which was actually best among all left fielders in baseball, let alone rookies. So that's something that I'm excited to watch. And then Cags, who, remember, started playing right field last year around this time in spring training. And I don't think that he's been overmatched. I don't think that he's been a liability. I think he's been really, really good and is only getting better the arm certainly plays, and his instincts are getting better and better. He's turning into a very capable right fielder. And I think that'll be the outfield alignment you see for the most part. But again, I do think Lane Thomas is going to get a good amount of playing time, and deservedly so.
Kag certainly looked comfortable, a lot more comfortable in the outfield yesterday for Team Italy, and that's something that I noticed can definitely a great trend for the Kansas City Royals. Jake Eisenberg, you went above and beyond today in this interview. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to get you on throughout the, a couple of times throughout the Kansas City Royals season. Hopefully it's a great season for you guys in KC. Thank you so much for joining us here at Middays with Matt. I really appreciate it, man.
Of course, anytime. Josh knows where to find me, and now you do too. Dan, great questions. Great to talk to you, Dan, through Matt. No, this is a lot of fun, guys. Thanks. Anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jake Eisenberg. Guy's a stud. What a stud Jake Eisenberg is. Shout out my roommate for answering the call, by the way, too. Hey, Dan just we'll just mute the TV and play Jake. And I was like, who the hell's this guy? He's like, use Jake Eisenberg. Used to do play-by-play in Omaha. I was like, wow, classic Dan. Playing the radio call.
Mute the TV, turn the radio up.
Play a little. So
Yacht Rock 1180, the home of the Royals for most of the baseball season.
What an interview for Wacky. We had him for 20 minutes. That guy just loves baseball, by the way. You can just hear in the excitement of Jake Eisenberg's voice how much he loves baseball, which is awesome. What an awesome, great get, Josh. Thank you. Can't wait to have my middle school science teacher on next week on Wacky Guest Wednesday. Coming up next, let's talk a little bit more college basketball. Talk the Big Ten tournament. Let's talk about the Jays, too. We're going to hit everything coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Just had an incredible interview with Jake Eisenberg, the radio play-by-play voice of the Kansas City Royals. Jake was incredible. If you're a Royals fan, that's a must listen to. He gave us a breaking prediction, a prediction that he hadn't put on the air or anywhere, really, before he came on Middays with Matt. So go and check that out on our radio replay. Hey, Hardy, the country artist, is coming to the CHI Health Center in Omaha on March 21st. We are going to give away one pair of tickets right now. Okay. You know what? No, we'll give away one pair. We're going to give a pair away. We're going to give one pair away right now. We're going to give one pair away tomorrow. I'm going to be real with you. I don't really listen to Hardy. Okay. I don't really listen to, I know people who like country music, who like him. All right. He's a great artist. If you're already entering this thing, you want to go and see a good country artist, you're going to see it in Hardy. Right. But I'm not going to put sugar on crap and tell you it's a brownie. Okay. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a big fan of this guy. I don't really fully know. But I'll tell you this. I do know some Hardys in my life. I know some Matt Hardys. I know some Jeff Hardys. I know some Tom Hardys. And so that is what our trivia question is going to be. I'm going to ask you a Tom Hardy trivia question. All right? A question not about the country artist that you are going to answer this question to potentially go and see and win a pair of tickets to. I'm going to ask you a question about the great actor, Tom Hardy. And if you go ahead and you give me the right answer, Josh O at 1620 The Zone, that's his email, josho at 1620thezone.com. You give him the right answer, you are going to Hardy, March 21st at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. Here is our question. Tom Hardy has appeared in Christopher Nolan films. How many Christopher Nolan films has Tom Hardy appeared in?
Okay.
A couple great ones, a couple classic roles. Some would say one of his roles was his breakout role in Hollywood. And then another Christopher Nolan movie, I would argue, is he's got the role he might be most known for. We could have that debate. What role is Tom Hardy most known for? But if we were to have that debate, we would tell you what Christopher Nolan movie he might be in. So how many Christopher Nolan films has Tom Hardy been in? And if you answer that question correctly to Josh O at 1620 The Zone, we are sending you to the country artist Hardy, March 21st at the CHI Health Center in Omaha. Don't call in. Email in Josh O at 1620 The Zone. We have some updates from across the NFL. New ownership for the New York Giants. So,
why?
Their owner was formerly in there's these files.
He was in a batch of files
that are coming out.
And he said, you know what? That's enough for me.
And so I'm trying to find the exact tweet here. I lost it because I'm bad at radio. From Adam Schefter. New York Giants co-owners Steve, Laurie, and Jonathan Tisch are requesting transfer of their stake to the team through their children's trust, according to an NFL memo obtained by Seth Wickersham and Jordan Rainon. Now, Steve Tisch is the current owner of the New York Giants. He's been found, how do I put it? In the Epstein files, okay? And it's been this big dark cloud over the New York Giants. By the way, it's had a pretty good free agency off season. Isaiah Likely, I kind of like the addition there. Give your young quarterback a trusted target at tight end. Kind of think it's a good little play by them. Steve Tisch, who's connected to multiple women in the Epstein files, absolutely awful. Is probably going to have to end up transferring his ownership stake to his children, Steve, Laurie, and Jonathan. So that's kind of, would we call that breaking news, if you will?
It's a developing story.
It's a developing story. Here's another developing story. Quasi Gilmer is up at the stand at press conferences today, and Steve Merrick is posting more Quasi Gilmer highlights. We got to get Steve on the radio station. Should interview Steve. He's awesome. I love reading his stuff, and I love it when Tim Verghese and Steve Merrick are always retweeting their stuff. They're great partners. They're great co-workers. They're always promoting each other. I will tell you this right now. Merrick and Verghese are the Gilmer girls. All right. And we don't mean that in a negative connotation. It just sounds like the Gilmore girls.
It's
and
all
it's just
love.
I would love to call them. I'll tell Verghese next time he's on the air that's our nickname for him. He'll probably get mad at me. And then we'll adjust it. By the way, Nebraska receiver Quasi Gilmer, a Los Angeles native and UCLA transfer, on his Midwest impression so far.
This is a good quote. Everybody listen up.
The weather be doing some freaky stuff, is what Quasi Gilmer says.
Great take.
No lies. Zero lies detected from Mr. Gilmer, who is making a lot of people's heads turn in spring practice. If I'm saying something, look, where there is smoke, there is fire. And the most smoke that has been billowing from the Nebraska football facilities has been about Mr. Quasi Gilmer. I feel like we have enough people talking about how good he's playing to actually believe that he's playing well. Could be the number one wide receiver. Certainly wants to be the number one wide receiver. And it is a pretty loaded wide receiver room with a ton of talent. You got Gilmer. You got Barney. You got Isaiah Hunter. Can't forget about Cortez Mills. We heard Nolan Scott was a guy that a lot of people have been talking about, some writing about. There's probably some smoke to that fire. You got Keelan Smith. Don't forget Demetrius Bell has been a guy that they've been hoping to get some sort of production out of, but unfortunately has suffered injury after injury. Look out for Quinn Clark, though. That's a guy that made an impact toward the end of the year. You saw flashes of him throughout the season. He's got a great build, lanky, big catch radius. I think he had that catch against Michigan State where I was like, whoa, he can move. Quinn Clark could make a pretty big impact next season potentially for the Nebraska wide receiver room. But Quasi Gilmer definitely positioning himself to potentially be the number one wide receiver this season for Nebraska football. Do you know where you should be positioning yourself for the next couple of weeks? On your couch, watching college basketball, conference tournaments going on, Selection Sunday right around the corner. The NCAA tournament is next week. Can't wait for everybody to see my big board, man. Oh my God. I'm already brewing. I'm already going to bed thinking about the big board. That's big board for the NCAA tournament. Josh Hodson.
When are we doing that? We do that Wednesday?
We're going to do that Wednesday.
Okay.
The Wednesday big board. Josh Hodson, going to tell you when you position yourself on the couch tonight, what you should be watching. That coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple updates here before we get going. SMU versus Louisville. That's a big game for the Bubble. Louisville pretty securely in the NCAA tournament, but SMU currently mocked right now according to Bracket Matrix as an 11. If they beat Louisville, that would go a long way in making sure they get into the NCAA tournament. So all eyes on that on ESPN right now, about to tip off in roughly a couple of minutes. Update in Lincoln for people who might be listening out in the capital city at Muchachos. You can go and have the Hoy Burglar. It's a Sam Hoiberg inspired sandwich. It's a Tuscan Bollillo from Ban Dulce with hot chili barbecue, piled high with pulled pork, queso, and fried onions. So Sam Hoiberg, you either die a hero or live long enough for you to become a Muchachos menu item.
You know you made it when they're naming burgers after you.
I think this is just a sandwich.
Oh, okay.
The Hoy Burglar. Quite the sandwich name. Real quick, too, before we get into what to watch, don't worry, we're going to get there. It was just announced from the March Madness men's basketball Twitter account, MMMBB TV. TNT Sports and CBS Sports presents the 2026 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Selection Show on CBS this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. Eastern. The panelists on the show.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Adam Zucker, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis, and Bruce Pearl.
Oh, of course.
Our very own John Bishop tweets, God help us if Miami of Ohio doesn't see their name called.
Well, Bruce is on the Miami of Ohio train.
Yes, he's what a very political backpedal, if you will. I saw Bruce Pearl do that. Like, oh, smoking like a true politician, Bruce. Wait a backtrack. I mean, I haven't seen Darrell Revis do a good of a backpedal as Bruce Pearl. That was impressive stuff. Apparently he loves Miami of Ohio now. Go Red Hawks is what Bruce Pearl has tattooed on his back. What are we watching tonight, Josh Hodson?
Major conference tourneys underway all over the place. 3 bids up for grabs today. The Southland Conference gives theirs away at 4:00 as God intended on ESPN2 with the fighting Stone Cold Steve Austins against McNeese. Don't call me McNeese State.
Yes.
Great name. 4:00 on ESPN2. The Patriot League, number 4 Boston against number 2 Lehigh, 6:00 on CBS Sports Network. And stay up late with the Big Sky. And this is on me. I just found out today that they call their tournament Starch Madness.
Yes. God, I love that.
What a great conference.
Incredible conference.
7th seed Idaho is in the title game against number 4 Montana. 10:30 on ESPN2.
Mid-major basketball as God intended.
That's right. NBA doubleheader on ESPN. Cavs Magic at 6:30, followed by Rockets Nuggets. Just a 2-game slate in the NHL. One of those games on TNT with a 6:30 puck drop. That would be the Caps and the Flyers. World Baseball Classic today, 6:00 on FS1. 3-0 Italy takes on 2-1 Mexico. Here's what you need to know. Okay. If Italy wins, it's good for the Americans. They will advance. If Mexico wins and scores 4 runs or less, Mexico advances and the U.S. is eliminated. If Mexico wins, but they score 5 runs or more, the United States advances.
Okay.
So those are the things you're rooting for when you're watching the game. Nebraska baseball takes on North Dakota State at 4:00 on Big Ten Plus. And finally, Zootopia 2 is streaming on Disney Plus now, Matt. Rookie cops Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde find themselves on the twisting trail of a great mystery when Gary DeSnake arrives in Zootopia and turns the animal metropolis upside down.
What did we say? Zebros or some S like that?
I lobbed that up for you. You slam dunked it.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker.
Are you?
I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how.
Dogs.
Winners.
Dogs.
Winners.
Dogs.
Winners.
Dogs.
Winners.
Dogs.
Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
We do love dogs. You know what? Do you know who's streaking heading into the Big 12 tournament? Because I'm a Big 12 honk.
Not Arizona State.
Cincinnati playing some good basketball right now. But
Bearcats.
do you know who's been fairly consistent throughout the season? Do you know
Arizona.
who's a team who is they're still fighting, still very much fighting for a shot at the NCAA tournament? It's the UCF Golden Knights, baby. Let's take UCF. All right. Central Florida, currently mocked to be a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament, trying to get themselves up to a 9 so they don't have to play a mighty 7 like St. Mary's, Miami, or Villanova. Plus 130. I'm going to take the Golden Knights today against 2 o'clock tip-off coming up here in the Big 12 tournament. It's tournament day all across the country. Enjoy the games, enjoy the basketball, enjoy everything. And we hope you enjoy coming up next, the crossover with USC on 1620 The Zone.